And your pasta, no clue, far from the plan. Tottenham stranded in shadows, no man's land. Lost on the pitch, echoes in the night. Fans screaming loud, no end in sight. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football mist. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football mist. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Speechless, impressed, they're at the ground. No solutions, nowhere to be found. Fans on the side, hearts turned to stone. Stadium echoes a lonesome drone. Whispers in the air, they speak of change. Hope on the horizon feels so strange. Question marks in every wayward pass. And close the future fading fast. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
Welcome to another episode of North London is Ours. We have a bunch of people running late, but it is what it is. And we are going to talk a lot about these next 2 weeks, basically the last 2 weeks of the season. Some clubs have big games and some clubs don't. As you guys can see in the banner, phase 2 versus phase 5. And we got a final to play where our counterparts, well, they got top 5 to play for and still not clinched for them. Hopefully Stefan will jump on. Send him a link. And anybody else that jumps on, I might just do something a little bit different and just post the link in a couple of minutes. Have you guys jump in, have your say about these last 2 weeks. Big up to those who are already here in the chat. Mark, big up. So FA Cups don't count. Well, was it before the phases that Arteta was talking about? Technically, it's still part of, what's his name? That's out in Villa. Unai's process, his phase, his players. But yeah, big up John George, Ange out, Levy out, everybody out. I agree. Big up. Big up to INR 243. Ange is already out. I agree. He's gone. TNT Sports made a Spurs fan video for the final. Oh, big up, big up, big up, Jordan. Big up, Steve. Yep, I sent you a link. He'll be jumping on. He's working out at the gym. Um, big up, big up, Mark. The two Marks, guys, please support their channel. Let me see if I already have the link. I know still usually have the links. Ritesh, big up, my brother. Man, I hope you are well too. Big up, big up. Ahmed, big up, big up. Ahmed. Yeah, let me see if I have the banner for the two Marks. Yes, I do. Yeah, guys, please subscribe um, to the Two Marks show. You've seen them on our channel. You've seen them on Sava's channel. Um, please subscribe. They're good content, and they will tell you the truth about our club. Um, so definitely hit the like and subscribe. Definitely. So as people straggle in, let me give you my thoughts of just what is going on right now, and um, and I might just post a link for maybe one or two people to just jump on. Since I'm gonna seize this opportunity to hear from you guys. We haven't done a call-in show um, in a while. It's been a while, so yeah. I'm waiting for Stefan to get here because I have a Yamal question for him. We got into a back and forth debate about Yamal and Saka, where I told him, I said, at 17, Saka is here. I mean, no, 17, Yamal is here and Saka is here. And he was trying to tell me, no, they're like even. I'm like, no, bro. No. Even defeat, Yamal was amazing. You saw Bastoni's comments for Inter Miami, Inter Milan. No. And Yamal hit a worldie today to have the lead. I think they're still beating Espanyol. They win the La Liga. Now that is like, man, you want to say world class because like literally what he's doing at 16 and 17 is freaking amazing. Yamal is the truth. I'm sorry, the truth, and he's won big trophies and he's contributed. Like this is what I told people. I have a very strict criteria for world class. For me to say world class, you have to be good for club and country. Club and country. So now that everybody is, I guess their rival. Since everybody's world class, so now I have to create a new category called elite. So, I mean, yeah. So, let me get with my opinions, and then I could get some of you guys to jump on, as long as you have a camera. As long as you have a camera. So, the thing is, right, there's two issues. But number one, you see me in the last two shows, we win, right? You hear the theme song, Tottenham has lost his mind. I'm going to lose my mind. Everybody's going to lose their mind at the parade if we win the Europa League. It's my second trophy since the Carling Cup. I'm going to go nuts. I'm going to celebrate. It's going to be great, And so for me, I want to experience that. And I am worried, not worried, we're in trouble because we got no Madison, got no Kulu. Rumors are saying that Bergvall will come back. But is he really that creator? I heard this on Sava's show earlier, and I agree. It's going to have to be an ugly 1-0 victory or winning penalties. I don't care how we win it. Now, if we did, and all this is ifs. If we win, I am pretty sure Patici is back, and reports say he's bringing in his own manager, even though the board is already upset. Right? Like Andrew's gone. I'm 95% sure he's gone. But hey, Andrew is like 9 lives, so who knows? But I'm pretty sure he's gone. Hey, thank you for the trophy. You're gone. So, it's the best of both worlds, right? He gets off. He's right. Okay, I win things in my second year. Great. Thank you. Now, you were that stopgap, right? So, my thoughts of going in is that, I would like for us to perform better in the league, but clearly, and I feel bad for the paying customers, the road supporters, where our team basically got their ass whooped from beginning to end against Crystal Palace. It was a joke, like absolutely domination in the location, as Deji would say. It was and tomorrow we play Villa. I expect the same. Villa has a lot to play for. They got to get to the Champions League, right? We're going to bubble wrap our players. So we're going to be at 21 losses. And whatever happened on Wednesday, I'm not. Wait, we play Brighton on the road or we're at home? I think, no. We're at home against Brighton. Brighton needs to win for European qualifications, especially if Man City wins, because there's a possibility of 9 Premier League teams playing in Europe. 9. That is freaking ridiculous. 9 teams have a chance to play in Europe. Extraordinary. So, we're playing teams that have, they have something to play for. And so, for us, where's the creativity going to come from? Like, the defense, I mean, United is the shit. I mean, Haaland for United, Garnacho. I don't claim him to be Argentinian. He is not Argentinian. Garnacho is not Argentinian. We don't claim him. They have, Ahmad. He's scored some key goals for United. Got Bruno Fernandes, that Casemiro. Yet, in my heart, in my mind, despite everything that's going against us, I say Spurs pull out a victory 1-0 over United. I don't care how we do it, kicking and scratching, fighting. I mean, I'll take it. I will take it any way possible. I mean, kidnapping some of the United players, whatever. Once Madison went down, I said, oh, shit. Well, Marvin, we beat him 3 times. Madison was there. Kulu was even there. And you guys know my opinion about Kulu. I'm like, and now we've lost him. Sonny, he's going to have to play against Villa to get his legs going. I mean, like, is he really in form? We got Tell, Olderberg, Solanke, or Charleston. This is the type of game I would love to see and say, fuck it, we're going to play with a back 3 and let Poro and Udogi just bomb and let that be the creativity. I mean, that's what I would want to see. Garnacho's not Argentinian. I know he is, but we don't claim him. I don't claim him. Him and Higuain. There's a reason why for Higuain, but but yeah, he's Argentinian. Um, look at the chat here. Yamal is better than peak Messi. I wouldn't say that. Peak Messi was when he scored 91 goals that year, and he was like second in assists. That was the most GA that one year. Yamal's good, but he's not there yet. I mean, he has possibility, but he's there, but not better than peak Messi. Not yet. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I wish Stephen was here. In the chat, I thought he was delusional. I thought he was delusional. I'm like, Stefan, there's no comparison. Yamal is here and Saka is here. I have not seen Saka take the game by the scruff and did what Yamal did against Inter. I mean, he literally like almost carried that team to victory. Tonight, a league winning goal. Last time I checked, they were up. Wait, let me look. Look at the score. Barcelona. Because if they win, they're La Liga champions. Yeah, extra time. They're up 1-0. Yamal scored a beautiful, worldy. These are the moments I've seen. You know? But Jordan, the thing you have to understand, Yamal's still doing homework. He's a kid. Saka's like 23. Yamal turned 17 a few months ago. He's a kid. He's still doing homework. He's still on TikTok. Like, he's a kid. And he's playing against grown-ass men. Of course, Saka's going to have a better attitude. He's 23, about to turn 24. Yamal is a kid. He is just a kid. But going back to my thoughts, those are my thoughts going into the final. I'm excited about it. I'm glad they got extra TV, big screens for the experience at the stadium. You know, Tottenham didn't fuck that up. You know, they had to change their mind and say, okay, they got a big screen. I just saw the blurb, the news about it. So everything, you know, we're just waiting for Wednesday, basically. To just be honest. I mean, we got a game tomorrow, but it's gonna be 21 losses. We're just waiting for Wednesday and see what happens. I would like to see us go to back three. Probably will not happen. We'll be playing with a back two. So it is what it is. But to find some creativity. So I'm gonna put the link there. Have some people's thoughts about what we need to do. Hopefully Stefan will come through. I mean, I messaged him. Text him again. Just text him. So, you know, he needs to face the music. Oh, he is here. He is here.
What's up? Sorry, Mari. I was at the cinema. Finished a good film.
What film was this?
The new Final Destination. If you guys want just a pure cinema popcorn film, it's very, very good.
How many Final Destinations are there? I remember seeing the first couple.
Six. This is the sixth one. Final Destination Bloodlines. And it was good. It was a very good like cinema popcorn film. It was very good. So if you guys want to go watch something, it's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are the topics?
The
Let
topics.
me guess. Are Spurs in a better place than Arsenal? Because if they win Europa League, they've had a better season. Let's forget the fact that
Actually, that
they're
was
a
not
fucking joke.
the two things have been about when I was talking about the injuries. I was actually giving my thoughts about Spurs going into Wednesday, and then the other one, I don't know if you've seen. Well, you were at the movies. Yamal with a worldy, beautiful goal, which is the game-winning goal, and Barcelona
Yeah.
has officially won La Liga. Um, maybe later on we could talk about, or maybe your views change about Yamal, because I know we had a debate about Yamal and Saka, but we could talk about that later on. But I'll just say this, um, man, Yamal. Now someone went overboard and said he's better than Pete Messi. I'm like, no, 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 no. The year Messi scored 91 goals, Messi was second all Europe in assists. That's one of the most greatest years ever. Peak Messi, the peak Messi is peak Messi. No one, I'm talking about no one in football come close to peak Messi. But
Yamal doesn't have the output of Saka of Salah even, let alone peak Messi. So
I got some stats to back that up of what
I
Yamal.
think I think he has slightly. I think if I'm not mistaken, Saka has more. I think he has more goals than Saka, but Saka has more assists. If I'm not mistaken, and that's
Maybe not
Saka.
the other way
And wait,
around. I think it's the other
and
way around.
oh, it's
I
the
think
other way. And
Yamal
that's Saka.
has
Wait,
more assists.
and that's Saka missing 4 months of football.
Yeah,
So
I'm
he
just
would
talking
have.
about.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
it's the other way around. But man, Yamal,
No, he's an amazing player. Don't get me wrong. I don't like people crown like let's pump the brakes. He's an amazing player, amazing talent, but to call him the next Messi and to give him stuff when I'm sorry, all right, we had this argument. Rafinha has had a better season than him. I know Lamine Yamal is silkier and has scored. But Rafinha has over. I think, if I'm not mistaken, over 50 goals and assists. Man. He
man,
has had a ridiculous. He's had a ridiculous season. But everybody's talking about Lamine Yamal, even though Rafinha has had a better season than him.
Rafinha needs to, when he goes up for the Ballon d'Or, he needs to cut out a check to Yamal, because
Well,
Yamal
why?
is
Why does he? Because, but why does he need to cut out a check? Because I remember when against Benfica when they were, when they were with a red card and Benfica missed tons of time. It was Rafinha that won them that game. He scored
oh,
that long range shot. I remember.
not denying
Uh,
that. But Yamal has made Lewandowski's and
can
Rafinha's life.
okay. Can we calm again? See, this type of shit annoys me. Lewandowski is the
No,
top.
I'm keeping it calm, but it is a make like I gotta be honest. For a
He's made Lewandowski. No, Lewandowski has scored goals without Lamine Yamal.
no, he's made his life easier. You didn't even let me land. I said he's
Uh,
made his life easier. Him and Rafinha. Some of the assists, some of the passing, it's just it remove
okay,
your all like Barcelona. I don't
are
think
still are still fine. They still have plenty of good players. I'm not saying that he's probably. I wouldn't say he's their best player. I disagree with this. I think this season is between Rafinha or Pedri for me. I would have Rafinha or Pedri over him currently.
Pedri's been Pedri's been
Yeah,
awesome, but
yeah, and so yeah, no, he's amazing. Don't get me wrong, but I saw Inter do, you know,
man, and
it,
Bastoni. Did you hear what Bastoni said after the game? Bastoni's like, "Yo, bro, we are so happy we won. That kid, he's a nightmare. He he is a problem. Like,
let's see. No, no, let's see Mario because everybody's hyping him up, and you know this in American sports and whatever sport it is. The moment you get more attention, the teams focus on you. They game plan for you. When Kobe Bryant first came into the NBA, nobody knew about him, so he was amazing. But then teams would double team him, triple team him. And Saka is now, when he plays for Arsenal, he gets triple teamed most of the time. And Lamine Yamal will get kicked. You know this. They're gonna start kicking the shit out of him. They're gonna start double teaming him all the time. They're gonna, they're gonna really, really focus on him from now on. And yeah, it deals because Messi and Ronaldo, they dealt with it. Messi got kicked all over the place. So did Ronaldo. Let's see. I think I really like him. I think he's got a great. He reminds me. I know this is a distant example, but he reminds me a lot of Ronaldinho. And Ronaldinho, in terms of his mentality on the pitch, he looks like he's just having fun. He's not like cocky. He's cocky, but it's more of a cockiness of
He's a
I'm just
kid.
playing. Yeah, I'm just playing football. I'm loving Ronaldinho was maybe more. Ronaldinho was smiling all the time, and he looked like he was just having a good time. But he reminds me of Ronaldinho a lot in terms of his like
I said this.
mentality.
I said this a while back, and some people agreed, and I heard a couple people say this, ex-professionals, and I'll say this because I know we will debate about Pep. As great as Pep is, this whole systems.
I can't wait for this.
I think the reason why people appreciate Yamal, because growing up, I watched individuals shine like Hagi, Van Basten, Maradona, like individuals. They kind of had that freedom because everything's so systems based. I think the reason why people appreciate Yamal because yes, he could play within the system, but that creativity, that freedom that you don't see as much
But it
in
was yeah. I
it's
mean,
like I I appreciate that because I
so wait,
want
so wait, so wait, so wait.
when
So you don't think Lamine Yamal would be as good in a Pep Guardiola team? Is that what
no
you're
no
trying
he'll
to say?
be good he'll be good and he'll probably be one of the very few that can get that permission or I'll give you permission because my thing is I felt Grealish going to City right and this is where I agree with some people like well he won trophies with
The
City
biggest
but
people
lost
go yeah, the biggest transfer flop in my opinion in history.
yeah because he lost freedom.
Nobody talks about yes, nobody talks about Grealish. Everybody talks about Anthony. Everybody talks about Harry Maguire. Yes, Harry Maguire was overpriced, but he still has played some really good. Like he's had a few big moments in games. Harry Maguire has played well. Yes, he's not worth 80 million. Anthony, okay, disaster. But Grealish was 20 million more than both of these players. Grealish, I don't know if you read about this. I think, if I'm not mistaken, in the year 2024, he didn't have a fucking goal. He didn't score a goal in the whole year
Which
2020.
is crazy because for me,
And
and
nobody talks about him, Ari. And no, if Grealish played for Man United and performed in the way he has at Man City, which let's be honest, he had one good
it
season.
sounds
And
weird. He it, Pep didn't ruin his trophy cabinet, his like his accolades, but his game, I feel he ruined his game
I
because
disagree with this. No, I disagree. Pep has players
Grealish
like
was good at
I just don't think Grealish is good enough to play in at the top at the highest level because if you look at you say he's ruined his creativity and his flair. I'm sorry, Pep has Savinho. Before that, he had Mahrez, he had Sane, he had Doku has the most dribbles per game. So in terms of like Pep, he likes wingers with flair. He likes wingers that cause chaos. It's Grealish, Mari. It's not Pep's system. Grealish looked great at Aston Villa, and I loved Grealish because Aston Villa were shit, Mari, and he's a great player. So he stuck out like a sore thumb in that team.
I
He's
just
the same way, for example, Cunha does for Wolves. Cunha sticks out from Wolves every time he plays. One, because he's a great player, but also especially because he plays for Wolves. The same with Grealish. When Aston Villa, I think, sold him, I think Aston Villa finished eighth, ninth, if I'm not mistaken, and before that, they almost got relegated. So I think it's really harsh to say Pep doesn't like. You can say that about Arteta in a way because Arteta's system is, I think, for example, someone like Martinelli. I think Martinelli has been stifled by the actual system because I think Martinelli as an inside forward is far more effective than as a classic winger, which he isn't, which he is for Arsenal. So you could make these arguments, but for me, quality will always shine through. If you put Lewandowski or Yamal in, Wolves or in any other team, they're still really, really good. They'll still shine. If you put Yamal in Man City, he'll play well. I'm sure he'll fit. Just
No, yeah.
Grealish just didn't.
I
Just
mean,
Grealish also has injury issues. He's been injury riddled for most of his time at City. So yeah, it's been you know
I just
this
think if
is
Grealish
this
was
is this is this is what I told you at the start of last season. You cannot replace some of these players that they're outgoing. You can sign Reinders, you can sign Verts. You're not replacing De Bruyne. You're just not. That's a generational player. You cannot replace Rodri. These players, there is not one team
not
in the
replacing
league.
Andre, Vulture's coming back. It's not being
No, I know he's coming back. But what I'm saying is that if he is out, you can't. No matter how good of a
yeah,
coach
yeah,
you
yeah.
are,
I agree with you. Yeah, yeah.
you cannot replace him. And then if you look at some of their defenders, they're regressing also. John Stones, not the same player. Ruben Diaz this year has been awesome.
They linked with that defender from fuck,
If they want a good value signing and he's smart, Pep, he signs Mark Guehi from Crystal Palace. I hope if Arsenal can,
where it was
if
somebody
because
else.
I'm reading Arsenal want a fucking defender. I'm fed up of defenders. We were in for supposedly Dean Huijsen and shit like he's a very talented player, but we don't need defenders. But if there is a defender on the market, which he is because he has 1 year left on his deal, so I'm guessing he'll probably be between 40 to 50 million. I mean, Mark Guehi for me is one of the most underrated. I love Mark Guehi. I think he's such a good player.
And
I think
he's still that city too. I mean, that
yeah.
city.
No, I actually predict. I think Mark Guehi will go to City. I do because I think he's good on the ball. He's a leader.
Yeah,
And I just think for Crystal Palace, he's played in a system of two.
him,
He's played.
him and Eze, and apparently,
I
Ange,
think honestly, I honestly,
Ange did not
I
want Eze, apparently, and I'm
I
just
think I think I wouldn't I think he's overrated in my opinion. I think Mateta should be the one that everybody. I think Mateta is the best player. Mateta and Wharton. I love Wharton. I think Wharton is gonna be is gonna be the
more
next.
smart. Wharton would be, yeah, but we're gonna get
I
to that.
think yeah. I honestly think Wharton in a year or two will be the next big British kind of like 90 to 100 million signing, and
Yeah.
I think he's that good. I think a fit because this year he hasn't been fit, but Mateta. The biggest shock for me, Mari, is Mateta. Nobody is linked with him, including Arsenal. I would love Mateta.
Yeah, no, he's been
He's a
solid.
beast. He's
Yeah,
a beast.
even was it the Olympics? He was actually bossing for France. He was
Mar
doing.
he bossed. He took the piss out of like. I mean, against Arsenal, he scored a ridiculous goal. Didn't do that much, but like, I've watched him against like City away where they led two, where they led 2-0. Like he destroyed their defenders. I've watched him play against like other teams, like good teams that he's completely dominated. Like he's a very, very good player that I'm guessing the reason why people aren't linked with him is because he wants a lot of money. Probably his salary demands are big. So that's why, because I'm reading like Man United and Chelsea are really interested in Liam Delap, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, yeah, I saw
He's
that.
good. He's good, but it's like, really, you're really like
Yeah,
that's your guy, like that
the
you
big
think that.
side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I just he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, he's got potential. I like him. I would have preferred Liam Delap against PSG. Don't get me wrong, we would have done better, but I just when I see this and I don't see any links to Mateta, I'm really like surprised because Mateta for me for now the second season running is one of the best center forwards in the league.
Yeah. Big up to Henry Tong TV. Big up Alex. If you want to jump on Alex, I will send you the link. So all right. So I'll start with Spurs because I already did my rant. So apparently we don't
What
care about.
rant? What rant, man? You're in the Europa League final. Everything's great.
But you know, like I, I I I go by integrity. You know, this past Sunday was just it was just a complete cuck
I
show.
watched. I watched the highlights. I didn't watch the game.
Yeah,
Palace should have won
seven.
4 or 5-0. Like,
Yeah,
and that's not being harsh.
yeah. VAR was our best defender. Let's
Yeah, that is
VAR
true.
was our best defender, and people saying we don't care about the league and stuff like that, like for weeks. And I'm just like, wow, like yeah, our fan base.
You
But
still haven't. You still. If you don't win this Europa League final,
oh
which, 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 I mean, let's be honest, Mark. This is the biggest lottery game. Let's use American terms. I can't remember another such a big and by lottery I mean, you know how they say the championship playoff final is the $120 million game because of the fact that whoever gets promoted to the Prem is like it's like a financial just such a boost financially, such a huge win. This game, Mari, both teams are completely fucked if they lose. Like Man United, I think are slightly more because from what I read financially, the guy
yeah,
can't even pay for most of the staff to come to the game. Doesn't want to do it. Okay,
and the stadium
Spurs.
is
Yeah,
not the process is not as easy as it's gonna be originally
no,
thought.
you can tell he's a cheap ass. He's not gonna be a Roman, even though he has more money than Roman Abramovich when he took over Chelsea. He's not gonna come in and be like this sugar daddy type owner where he's gonna give unlimited funds and pretty much sign everybody. So, and from what I read, if they don't make the Champions League, they can only sign like one player, which is probably going to be Cunha. For me, that's an absolute disaster going into the dressing room. I think he's a great player, but he's an asshole, Mari. And you know this. He's a prick. He's going to go into a terrible culture by being a complete asshole. Um, and that is if Cunha goes to Man City or Arsenal or Liverpool, that's fine because he's going into a strong dressing room with like a culture and stuff. For me, I look at their situation and I think they need to win the Europa more than you. In my opinion, I think Spurs. Yeah, you guys, if you lose the Europa, you're gonna need. I mean, for sure, you're gonna sack him for sure.
Yeah,
Um, so that means a new coach.
yeah.
Uh,
Paratici is gonna get his guy like
who's this? Like, it's for me. You have the easiest choice. It is so obvious who the next coach should be.
the two
He
names
should
are
be manager. He should be manager of the year this year. I'm not reading. Yes, Nuno. Okay, it's between him and Nuno. Nuno has done an amazing job.
no, Xavi and
No,
Glasner.
I cannot. When I read again, this is what I mean by whoever does your. If you hire Jacques, you're gonna hire a
So
guy.
here's the pros and cons. I get your hesitation. For me, I know he will be good with youth and and
How
and
do you know
I think,
he's good with Barcelona youth because
but
Barcelona youth.
here's the problem that my hesitation with Xavi is that like Conte, like Jose, he's gonna look around
But
and
he's not. Wait. Mari.
let me
Yeah,
let.
yeah, go on, go on.
He's so used to a winning atmosphere. I think he's going to rant, complain when he sees how Levy does it. Because when you're surrounded by a winning culture and winning, and then you come to even Harry Kane said that the day one he stepped in Bayern, like the smell of the place was winning. Where Xavi comes in, he's gonna get frustrated
No, Xavi. The problem is the other. As you know this, for me, it's all about the fit. If you bring somebody that's used to eating caviar and you serve him French fries, it's much harder for that. If a person is used to luxury,
Yeah,
for
I'm
him
saying
to
same thing.
yeah, for him to suddenly get used to poverty is not it never works. It just never works. Conte is an example of where he's used to clubs coming in, they pretty much invest the most money. They usually have a very no, actually harsh. Conte has improved. Like he has taken squads from like third, fourth, and then won them leagues. So no, I would
Now,
say Mourinho. I would say Mourinho is like that. Mourinho comes in and he's used to usually having one of the best teams, the biggest budgets, everything like this. And although Mourinho did adapt well, and they have, because why Mourinho has worked at Porto, Conte has worked in Serie B where he got Bari promoted, so they have gotten used to French fries. Xavi has never gotten used to French fries, Murray. He never has. Xavi
yeah,
has always been the coach of one, the cultural fit. Xavi is used to the Barcelona way, which is only done at Barcelona. You guys don't, your youngsters don't think in the Barcelona way. They're not coached the same way. So Xavi, the ability for him to go from youth to the first team is because Xavi was also a youth coach at Barcelona. So a lot of these players that he helped push through into the current team now, he helped develop as a youth coach. So this hire for me would be the dumbest hire. I think it would be an absolute disaster. I think Xavi would be an absolute first. He doesn't have experience in building a club. It's. I'm not saying it's easy to be a Barcelona because of the pressure and the politics dealing with the board,
yeah,
but Xavi has the best players. The worst case scenario for Barcelona is like to finish third. Let's be honest.
yeah.
Worst case. Worst case. So like it's not like whilst at Spurs, he's gonna if he comes in right, and let's say you haven't won the Europa, Romero is gonna come in and say, "I'm shit, but I still think I'm better than Spurs, so I want to leave." Kulu's gonna come in and say, "I want to leave." All of the players are gonna go mercenary on you, pretty much. That are supposedly Bentancur also is linked. I don't know why he's been terrible this year, but
I was
you know
so I was so whoever wants to buy him, take him, take him.
I wouldn't sell him, Mari, because looking at your remaining midfielders, I think he's probably your best one. And that's not saying a lot, but Basuma for me. How right was I about him? I told you. I told you. No, I didn't tell you. Conte told you. Conte said this guy is not good enough. He's not good enough tactically.
Now that you've heard me last season, I saw it on assume I was one of the first. Him and Kulu. I was
He was against Palace. Go watch the replay for the second goal. Palace scored that goal because he's lazy and doesn't track back. If he tracked back and covered Eze, he would have cleared the ball. But he was lazy at the end and let Eze run past him. And so Eze scored. He's just not good enough. He's just not you need to sell him. If you can keep Bentancur, give you a bit okay, maybe I would sell him, but I would
so
keep Bentancur. I would keep Bentancur over Basuma. And
so
even eh,
yeah. So I was gonna say. So this is the dilemma, right? Let's get to the final. Both team are shit, but
oh my
United,
god, the
but
worst final
United,
in years.
yeah, but United has the experience of Casemiro. They got Bruno Fernandez. As much as people say he he does now, even with against City last year, I think like he does the big assist. He does the big goal. They have they have him. They they have players who have tasted.
Ahmad,
I'm
Ahmad
not,
is good.
yeah, and where then you look at our club, we've lost our best creator in Madison.
Yeah,
I don't rate
that's a
Kulu
huge miss.
as much as a creator, but if you did, we
Kulu,
lost. We lost him. Birdball is taking shot.
stop.
So we don't
Bert.
have him. And then we have the greatest front line, right? Of Tell, Olderberg, Solanke, or Charleston.
Are you sure Son? Are you sure Son isn't gonna start?
we gotta see how much minutes he gets in the Villa game. So my theory is, my heart is saying 1-0 ugly ass victory over United, but my head says, where are the goals coming from? So for me, and I know this is not gonna happen. I know this is not gonna happen, but tell me if I'm wrong or right about this. I think the best way for us to have a chance
Play
is
defensive.
to have a back three and have wait. Have Pedro Porro, our best creator, I think, that's left. Pedro Porro and Udogi bomb the
Yeah.
flanks as the best option of getting a sense of an attack to help midfield. Is it too far fetched?
No, I honestly think your two fullbacks are far more suited for a wingback system. Than if you look at Udogi's best performances are in the Europa, because I watched him live at Frankfurt and I watched some of the other games again.
Yeah.
Because Udogi's biggest strength is when he breaks, when he starts to sprint, when he suddenly transitions, and you can see why he was a wingback at Udinese. You also see why he was a wingback because defensively at times Udogi completely falls asleep. So that would remove the actual the kind of burden on him defensively. Poro also isn't the best defensively also. So both of them are more wing backs, and it would make them more attacking, something that they're both far better than. So I completely agree with you. And I would love to put Danzo. I like Danzo. I think Danzo has impressed me. I think he's a good player. If you could, if you could put Danzo, Van de Ven, and Romero, that's a very good defense in terms of on paper. So yeah, but he's never. I think he played once with three at the back, and Everton. I think it was away to Everton, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And they completely destroyed you. So I don't think he's going to change his tactics suddenly for the final. I think Bodo Glimt and Frankfurt made a massive mistake in which which to me is shocking, is that they expected Spurs to come out, which they didn't. So Man United, I think, are going to be prepared and say, okay, let's watch their European games because they play a completely different style. So they'll be prepared. Amram is a very good, tactical coach. So let's see. But you say your strike force is bad. Man United's is worse, Mari.
Oh yeah.
Man United's strike force is beyond. It's a relegation. No, it's a If you look at the relegation teams, they have better wingers and strikers. Dibbling from Southampton, from what I've seen, is better than any of their wingers. The ones, I mean, maybe not Rashford because he's not there, but the current ones that they have. Delap from Ipswich is better than Hoyland and Xerxes. Honestly, the two shittest. Hoyland is one of the shittest strikers I've ever seen in the Premier League. He is horrendous. He is absolutely horrendous.
This is a good question.
Garnacho,
Garnacho,
headless chicken. And wait, Jordan, if you think Garnacho walks into your starting 11, go have a look at some of the Man United fan channels. They stand him. His decision making in the final third, in the final third is horrendous. He's super selfish, consistently shoots from everywhere without there being any sort of quality. So yeah, Garnacho, yeah, he might score. He might have one amazing game where he scores like a worldie and stuff, and you say, "Oh wow, he's such a good player."
Dr. Tottenham, Paging Dr. Tottenham.
Richarlison, he did. I completely agree with INR 243. I thought the balance between Richarlison and Solanke worked really well, especially when you're on the break. If you play defensive, where you can pin them back and start, pumping long balls a little bit, maybe more diagonals. Richarlison is good at that because he's played as a 9, so he can hold up the ball far better than Son or any of these players. So I think I would play Richarlison and Solanke.
And he's good in the air, which
yeah,
and if we're gonna Poro is gonna whip it in, You know,
The only thing, Mari, that I'm really concerned about is your midfield. Without Kulu, Mari, defensively in transition, not in transition, tracking backwise, you're horrendous. No, Brennan Johnson is lazy, doesn't track back.
Basuma sometimes I called
But
him out.
no, Bisuma, if you,
He
yeah,
doesn't track back all the time, and I called him out on it. One of the goals last season, I
no,
was
he doesn't.
he didn't
He
track back.
continuously falls asleep, doesn't track back. He's continuously in the wrong
I
position.
called him out on it.
I mean, the most. I know it wasn't a big game for you guys. There was no point, but the Crystal Palace game, guys, go watch the second goal. He,
And it's
he,
so important, Stefan, because we don't have a six. We don't play with a six. But it's
I
important.
would play. I would play Bentancur. I know you don't rate him. I rate him, but he's been terrible this year. But I would play Sar. At least Sar runs, Mari. At least he defends, man. Off the ball. Bissouma is terrible off the ball, Mari. He's terrible. How can you be a six or a mid or a center mid and have zero tactical awareness or defensive like any? He's so bad, Mari, off the ball.
Yeah.
I would play Bentancur and Sar.
Benchford is a definite.
And then the biggest problem that you have now is who the fuck is going to play number 10? I'm reading ridiculous suggestions on Twitter. I mean, Twitter's not a very... about Mikey Moore. I'm like, what?
Oh, no, we
What?
can't do it. No.
You're going to... A kid that I think has started two Premier League games or one Premier League game, if I'm not mistaken. You're going to start him in the biggest game of your club's history in probably 30 years, more than 30 years.
Yeah.
Like some of the like it's the same. Hey Alex.
Big up, Maury. Big up, Stefan.
Hey, what's up, man? It's the same suggestion when I remember for the second leg because Odegaard wasn't good in the first leg. Fans were like, start Nwaneri.
But Stefan, in my 3-5-2, you know what? The number 10.
He's not gonna play with three defenders, man. You know.
I know. That's my dream scenario. But
if he was smart, you see, the thing is, the other worrying thing about this is no matter how shit Man United are, the teams that I have noticed, Ange Ball or so-called whatever the hell it is, struggles the most against three back systems because the wing backs push forward, and then the wingers like Brennan Johnson, who doesn't track back. For everything you say about Kulu, Mari, Kulu runs his ass off, Mari. He defends, he tracks back, he covers players. Brennan Johnson, after like the 15th or 20th minute of each half, is completely gassed. He's done. He doesn't either. He's gassed or he's lazy. I don't know.
And the point thing too, because I'm saying I'll play a 3-5-2, but you go managers, Amarin, and then Ange. Like, who's gonna make the adjustments? Who do you trust? Amarin.
Amarin.
Who has the best in-game management? Amarin. I mean, so it's just like
Maury, I don't even think United fans would agree with you on that.
Yeah, that's true. I was just about to say that.
United fans, they're like Chelsea fans. They're so
Maury, let me say this.
as players, and the thing is,
but Mari, he's been so like. Have you seen his record?
Even Saeed said this. He said, in reality, Amarin is going to need 3 years. You think United fans have 3 years of patience?
Mari. I agree with you. But have you seen it? His record makes even Ten Hag's worst run look okay. Have you seen his record, Mari?
It's not. He's in a difficult situation. And apparently, I didn't find out he wanted to come at the end of the season, but
he wanted a full preseason. He wanted a full preseason.
And I just think it's unfair.
I agree.
To let him go because it's difficult. But United fans, they're almost like Chelsea fans, where they're so impatient, and it's like, wait, what's the difference from Poch? I don't even see the difference. Actually, Poch was on a high.
Mari, you cannot say Mari. Last 7 games, Last
Let,
7 games.
let me jump in after you, Stefan. Let me
Yeah.
jump in. I have to.
Yeah, go on.
Because Mario, just with the thing you said earlier about in-game management, this is the thing. This is how I would put it. Spurs fans, we'd all, a majority, we would say, yeah, but Amram is much better at in-game management. He's better at it. All of those crucial things like adapting, and United fans, after what they've seen from Amram in the league this year, I think they would say the opposite. Some of them say, yeah, but at least you score goals. We don't, and we're just when we're dross, we're like real dross. It's back and forth. I wouldn't agree because I have my point of view, which is Spurs, and how shit we are. I can't even put in words. So for this game, I can go back to when they played West Ham just the other day. The amount of my friends, United friends, the amount of things I heard from them in like he didn't manage the game at all. That his substitutions were awful. He risked
Yoro.
some players, and
Risk
Yoro
Yoro.
got injured uh, as a consequence of that. And now he's come out and said that he probably won't change much in terms of strength against Chelsea. So in that sort of sense, then you can say, oh, they're not like this. In the way they've been this season, they both fucked up, and that's the reason for why they're
Alex,
why we're
come on.
why
Come
we're
on.
no look where we are in the table.
That's true.
Our
But Amarim, when did Amarim come in?
management. It does.
But wait, when did Amarim come in, guys? Was it December? November?
But Stefan, you contradict yourself. You just said that his record is worse than Ten
His
Hag's.
His
He's
record.
the reason they're 16th
Yeah,
now too.
his record is inexcusable based on some of in terms of, but to come in, they gave him such a shit, Alex. Like literally, he comes in the middle of the season. Half of the team doesn't give a shit. You have Marcus Rashford lying about partying in Belfast and calling in sick for training. The culture is horrendous. You have players that just can't play for Man United because of the pressure. Look at Anthony now at Real Betis. Okay, compared to what he was.
Pressure is a huge thing. That's a huge
Yeah,
thing.
so I think I understand why Man United fans have reservations about him, but I still think I really like. For me, I know this is very subjective and very kind of superficial, but I always, just for comparison, when you watch Pep, when you watch Klopp, you guys are not gonna. When I watched Mikel Arteta's first press conference, I immediately knew that he had something about him. So did these. He has the way. Eric Ten Hag, I knew this guy was not, from his first press conference to his oversized suits. Get up, like you're making millions of dollars. You pay fucking Taylor for suits, like just
Wait,
some of
who had something about him? Arteta?
yeah, 100. When immediately when he came in, you could see he had authority. Like he immediately said this, and that. Unai Emery, when he came in, of course he couldn't speak English well, so nobody took him seriously at first. But you look at Klopp, you look at Pep's first press conference, you look at all these managers, they have something about them. Amarim has that. He has that vibe. I think Amarim. I like him. Maybe it's biased. Maybe it's this. I think Amarim, if you give him money and you give him the right players, I think Man United will get better. But what Amarim has that's very similar to Arteta and to Klopp was that Arteta and Klopp came into a club mid-season where the culture was shit, where you had overpaid players, where you had an achieving team, a frustrated and disconnected. He came into a broken club, Alex. And I would say Man United are more broken than Arsenal or Liverpool when Arteta or Klopp came in.
Yeah,
So he needs to rebuild this.
Spurs are more broken than United.
No. Spurs can be broken because a manager, when he comes into Spurs, it's not the same as when a manager comes into Arsenal or into Chelsea or into Man United.
Stefan, we have the worst. You argue loser culture. We have the worst loser culture, in my opinion. From contrast to how big we are as a club to the culture at the club, we're at the top. And I have to say this.
Okay.
Let me say this because this is the thing that that doesn't get you. You can say United's culture is broken and all those things, but what do United do? They win trophies. What did Ten Hag do? Okay, he didn't uplift the culture,
Yeah,
but
but
look,
okay,
he won
okay.
trophies in 2 years. All at Spurs, we have a constant: is that we don't win, we don't ever often wise, we don't ever look close to winning, and when we have an opportunity to win, we shit it. Like we absolutely shit it. And for United, you can't say those things.
I
You can't.
can't. But
Alex,
Alex,
Alex said the key thing. But both can be true. Whereas United, though they win the trophy, there's infighting within the
no,
ownership,
man.
and then Sir Alex, like former players, where with Tottenham, where he says the consistent losing, but there's one person, and that is Daniel Levy. Oh, I don't like you. I'll get rid of all of you. So that's what
Guys,
this is actually peace, right? The fighting is more of us Levy out, but it's more of it's not it's the losing, but it's not as toxic as
no,
United.
it's no.
It's like
United reminds me.
because of Daniel Levy it's not toxic. But I understand what you say. But
Yeah, I'm
the
talking. I'm
losing,
talking like
No, no,
yeah,
winning,
guys,
losing,
but
winning.
that's why Man United reminds me so much of when Arteta first came in. You have your culture is not. It's also not. It's terrible because it's a different type. Because Man United don't accept failure. Like for example, Man United are a massive club, but what the comparison is the fact that he came in just like Arteta when the fan base was disconnected. The fan base hated the ownership, just like at Arsenal, where you had players Xhaka throwing his shirt away. It was completely broken. You had Man United fans booing Xerxes 2 months ago at their own ground, and I don't rate him, but the pressure that you have to deal with and the expectation, along with the fact that you have, just like at Arsenal when Arteta came in, overpaid players, prima donnas that weren't leaders, and just because they win cups, guys, doesn't mean yes they have a winning culture, but it doesn't mean they have a good culture because those cups, just like at Arsenal when they won three FA Cups in like 4 years, they papered over the cracks. They actually, in my opinion, the first FA Cup we won in 2014 with Wenger, that delayed the inevitable and needed change that the club rotted as a result. What the club should have done is should have let go of Wenger in 2014 when we won that first FA Cup and move on. But we didn't because that cup papered over the cracks. The same thing happened to Ten Hag. They would have sacked Ten Hag 100%. They were even looking for coaches for a month. But because he won the FA Cup, because they couldn't deal with the fan, pressure and stuff, they kept him. And what happened? And they gave him another 200 and something million blow, and now they're completely fucked financially because they delayed it. They then paid him a far larger sum to fire him. I think they paid overall to fire him and then hire Amarim. I think I read around 20 to 25 million pounds. Okay, they made the wrong, just like at Arsenal, they made the wrong hires at sporting director, where they fired the actual sporting director very soon after he actually started. So it's exactly the same situation. So it depends how good and how much time he gets because next year, even if they win Europa Man United, it's going to be really painful. They're still going to be crap. Like this isn't something that's going to, Champions League and everything's going to be okay. I actually think even Amarim, have you guys been, it's hilarious. If you watch the press conferences of Amarim compared to Ange, it's like the totally like
Yeah, yeah.
180.
Spoken
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
one guy, Amarim even said in an interview, "Oh yeah, I prefer to not have Champions League football this year, next year, because
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, whoa,
It's
yeah,
a good shit,
That's also
and
where
then
I put value into, like, will United want it as much as we will, our players will? I don't think so, but it won't matter. What matters at the end of the day is that the players have to click as a team. We have to, because our 11 that we're about to put out there will include no creative midfielder. We've now lost Kulusevski, who I, by the way, think yeah, for this game in general, against United and Manchester clubs in general, he's invaluable. Like his performances that he's had over the years, I don't think you should ignore. I can just bring this up against City in Kulusevski's last 7 starts against City, for example. He has let me look. He has 5 goals and 5 assists and 3 goals in his last 7 starts. Against United during that 3-0 win, he was our man of the match. In the other 4-3 game, another 4-3 game in the cup where we were 3-0 up against Amarim in the cup, and then they made a little comeback almost in the end there, but we won 4-3. He's been instrumental in those games. It's just something about United that makes him go up a gear. Kulusevski, I think he's a huge miss now, even though he hasn't been up to form. You can't deny that he's looked really sluggish. He's looked
Really sluggish.
you can even argue he's looked unmotivated. But I think it's something about him coming back too early. He hasn't been at his best, and
Yeah, but
I think
Alex, he
I
always
think
does
it's
this.
a clear
He
body
yeah,
language.
but wait, that's Kulu's. Kulu has one good game. Bentancur is exactly the same. He has a good
Yeah, that
month.
goes down to lack of coaching, in my opinion, because
No,
the way some of our many of our fans they go on about our players, like especially the ones who defend Danch. They say, "Oh, these players aren't good enough. They're not good enough." Yeah, they're not
which
good.
is true. Which is
They're
true
not good
also.
enough. What to play this kind of insane football that has led to our worst season in history in terms of results, but also our worst season ever in terms of injuries. This is a record-breaking season in terms of injuries. Injuries alone, I think we've like 5, 6, 7 in terms of total injuries during the
Alex,
season.
wait.
Bournemouth,
It's not true. Bournemouth
Bournemouth
have had more injuries than you. Arsenal have had more injuries than you. Brighton have had more injuries.
is more. Yeah.
So it's this notion that suddenly I think he is
Yeah, I super chatted Sim because Sim yesterday was trying to say, "Oh, the injuries." I said, "Well, the injuries didn't affect
no.
that
It's hilarious.
Arsenal."
Injuries,
And then
no. Injuries are the reason for why Spurs are 17th, but Arsenal are expected to win the league without their best player for 4 months, their most great player for 2 months, their second most productive player in Havertz for the season, and the second striker for the season also, who was in a purple patch when he got the ACL. And I'm not even gonna bring up Gabriel, our best defender, who got injured at the start of April, so he's missed 2 months. So it's like, but with
so,
Spurs, it's with Spurs fans, it's the injuries. It's
No,
but
no.
yeah,
Uh,
well, well, some
Stefan, first of all, I want to call out that's bullshit. In terms of injuries themselves, squad wise, per player, you haven't had more injuries than us. You haven't.
we
What you say
have.
is that no, you haven't. What you say is that we've had injuries to more crucial players. I can bring that up too. I can bring that up. I can say that for us, for our system, Romero and Van de Ven, they're crucial to us. Who's crucial
Romero
for you?
really?
I think
Okay.
in terms of
Romero, how
output,
did
you can say Saka. You can say Saka. Fine, he's been injured. He's actually had a long-term injury. You can also say
Odegaard?
Gabriel. Yeah, yeah,
Odegaard?
yeah. But Odegaard, look at how everybody in your fan base is speaking about Odegaard now. Like,
Yes.
oh,
Okay, but Odegaard
we
was
were
their
better.
player.
We were better before he came back. That's
Yeah,
what.
of course.
That's
Yeah, but
so
that's my
so
dumb
many of.
fan base. But wait, Odegaard was our player of the year 2 years in a row. Last year was the
Yeah, but
most
we're
creative
talking about
player
this
in the
season.
league.
About this season now. He hasn't been. He hasn't been what.
Yes, he hasn't been, but he got injured in August and then came back in November. So again, one of our best players, Marino, first training session was out for 2 months. Every single player, Martinelli was almost out for 2 months. Like some of our like other, the only player that played every single game surprisingly was Thomas Partey, who's usually injury prone. Even Rice missed 1 month. Like we've had the most injuries. In terms of key injuries, I would argue we've had worse injuries than you. You can talk to me all about Van de Ven and Romero. I'm sorry. Romero was horrendous at the start of the season. He cost you so many games when he played. He has continued to cost you games. This notion that Romero, me and Mario always have this argument, those big wins that you just named, the 4-0 win against Man City, that was with Dragusin and Ben Davis. So some of your best wins, the 4-1 win against Villa, if I'm not mistaken, at home,
Yeah,
I said
remember
Dragusin also played in that game. So
remember TV with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you can bring all those things up, but if you look at our points per game with Van de Ven and Romero starting, it's almost four times the more points with them starting
are you
versus.
sure? Because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
severely doubt this.
it is. If you look at who was it? Davies and someone other than Romero and Van de Ven. That stat versus Romero and Van de
Okay,
Ven.
but wait.
And
Yeah.
there are four. There's four. So whatever that argument you're trying to make, it's I just want to go back to something you talked about Amorim. I'm gonna go back to this. You said,
Yeah.
"Oh, he's come halfway into the season," but you know
Yeah.
why I have no sympathy for him. You know why? Because he shows to come into to United, knowing what, because he knows what would happen. He knows how much in a mess they were. It's not like they glazed it and like said, "Oh, you know what? You have a really good opportunity now to push us into the top six or whatever." They knew they were in the gutter from the first time they picked up the phone to him. What he could have done, he could have stayed with Sporting. He could have gone invincible even with Sporting. Could have wrote in history with them. Won the treble over in Portugal. Whatever. If you look at managers like Moyes and Pereira, look at. You can argue, oh, it's not the same as United. There's no real pressure. They can work with their, within whether frame they want. But what you can't like look away from is that why aren't we hearing, oh, but Moyes doesn't have his type of players for his system. Pereira doesn't have his system. Pereira, he plays a midfielder in striker, this Munetzi guy. He didn't have the choice. He's adapted as much as you possibly can as a manager, and he's gotten them. He's gotten them on crazy
But
runs.
that's
He's
yeah.
manager, he's manager of the season, contender now. All of these things, it's excuses for me. A project for me, it's primarily supposed to be revolved around players. Managers, they come and go. They come and go. I don't think you should get too stuck on managers, because once a manager shows that he isn't willing to find his way around the problems, when he's stubborn like our manager is, and refuses to adapt his game for the sake of, because I just have to say this before, and then you can go on. When I have a manager like me, like Ange, when he prioritizes his style of football over results, that's when I know it's not going to work. When he sacrifices his style for results and says, you know what, I'm not gonna go my way. I'm gonna go the opposite of my way to get these 3 points over the line, to get this 1 point over the line. That's when I can put my faith in a manager.
But Alex,
Amorim,
but yeah.
Amorim and Ange, Amorim with his back three, and Ange with his high line, non-existent defensive structure system. That's when I know they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna succeed in the Prem. You can give Amorim his players. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna be the solution for United. And I'm
Wait,
gonna
yeah.
I'm gonna call him that. I'm not gonna say. I'm
But
not
but
gonna.
but Alex, I agree with you on some parts, but for me, if you look at the truly successful coaches that have transformed teams to transition, and I don't know what Jordan is saying, you've had a worse injury crisis. Arsenal had fucking Sterling, Marino, and Nwaneri up front for a month. Oh, just like, uh, yeah, but we're supposed to win the league. But
Wait.
okay.
Sterling. You saying Sterling as injured? That's like us saying, "Oh shit, we have Werner injured."
No,
You
no,
can't.
no, no, no. I said we had
Bring up. It
Sterling.
can't be Sterling.
No, no, we had
I
Sterling
would rather have
starting,
Sterling than Werner.
Sterling starting,
Timo Werner.
Marino, and a 17-year-old starting for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Um,
I want to move on because I actually do
no, no,
want
no. I just want to address that. If you look at, I agree with you, but in order to change, pragmatism, I think, can only get you so far. It might win you a cup, just like it won Ten Hag a cup. It might win you a cup. But to truly transform your team and take them to the next level, the way Pep transitioned, the way Klopp, Arteta has fallen short in terms of winning trophies, but Arsenal are a top team now. They are not a joke. They used to be five or like 6 years ago. In order to transition to this level, I think you need to have short-term pain. And that short-term
You're like
pain,
us under Poch. You're like us under Poch. That's what I see you as right now. Except Poch had half
no.
half the money Arteta has spent, Poch got.
Yes,
That's why.
and let's forget that Poch had the weakest. Wait. Let's forget that Poch had the weakest league in history and still didn't win. Okay,
Weakest league.
let's act like
People are saying right now this is the worst sort of like qualitative.
Well, it's
in the
not
Premier
because
League
it's
ever
not
been.
because there are 7 competing teams for the Champions League. Newcastle played, Aston Villa have, Forest have good players. Every single team.
I saw a good debate about this point. So let me get to there. I was going to pose a question, but I'll save that for the end because I do want to have good enough time to talk about Arsenal. But I'll let you guys preview. The last question of the night would be: is Ange, and Alex has heard my opinion, is Ange owed next season if he wins the Europa?
Oh, for sure.
Me, I say no. I don't want another Ten Hag or Monday Ramos situation, but we'll go back to that. So here's the premise: Arsenal, and I've looked, I've watched everybody from Igal, certain people on the TV, Dan Potts, of course Lee Gunner Lee, from everybody. There is a divide in regards to Arteta. There are those who feel that he has not lived up to the phases, not producing a trophy. They're not, the FA Cup doesn't count, and they feel that after the 800 mil, he should be gone. Some people, like the Egals of the world, feel that Berta coming in, give him one more year. But with Arteta, there are those that no, they feel that Berta should get his own person to come in to get them to finally cross over the line. And so I'll start with Stefan, where you're at. Of course, it was disappointing with the Champions League. I will give you guys credit. I didn't think you guys would go that far. So was it really disappointing or not? Or maybe it is disappointing because you guys were supposed to go. This is the chance to go to the final. You guys beat Real Madrid. And then in the league, you get the injuries and stuff like that, but teams are called to overcome injuries. So I'll throw it to Steph. Where are you at with Arteta? And
this is the type of comment that annoys me. Yeah. No, I completely support Arteta. I think the injuries that we've had this year, no other team. I mean, you have precedents. Man City lost Rodri and their whole season collapsed, literally. One player. Liverpool, if you go back,
if the Ballon d'Or winner is just not one player, but yeah, go on.
I mean, he's their best player. They lost one player. So what does that mean? It's okay for Man City to completely go to shit for more than half of the season because they lost one player. But okay, Liverpool, when they lost Van Dijk and had their injury crisis, they weren't second. They were nowhere near in the Champions League or competitive or whatever. But of course, Arsenal has to cope with no striker, Saka out for 4 months, and all these injuries to our best players, and somehow
you can't use a striker argument because
yes, I can,
your own
because
manager,
Havertz. Yes, I can.
Your own manager has prioritized left backs, center backs.
We have
over strikers when he's had opportunity to sign strikers.
Yes, I can. The same way your loser fan base keeps bringing up Solanke being out for 2 months. What? Havertz has scored.
We're not competing for titles, Stefan. I'm not.
Okay. Well,
Arteta has had the chance to sign strikers, but he's turned that.
He lost 2 of it. Okay, he tried to sign. Arteta tried to sign. They failed. It's not on. It's on the board for getting those. He signed Sesko. It's not on the board. Sesko chose to stay. He tried to sign Watkins. The board didn't want to pay 60 million. He tried to sign Vlahovic before. He chose to go to Juventus. So he tried to actually sign strikers. The other issue is we lost 2 of them. We lost Havertz and Jesus. No matter what you think of these players, Havertz at the point in February when we lost him was on 16 goals. So Havertz would have been far better than Marino. So would have Jesus playing striker. So if you don't think this has an effect on the Arsenal team being as effective, okay, that's your choice. But it does.
Can I throw in something quickly? Before the injuries, you guys were struggling to score goals, and this before the Saka injury, before Havertz. You guys were, you guys weren't playing like as even as last year, right? That
Yeah,
January,
because
you guys were on all cylinders. It seemed like you didn't lose a lot of
no,
games.
because no,
You guys
because
were running. You guys were running all
yeah, because
cylinders.
no, that's true. Because in the first 3 months, we lost our most creative player, which was Odegaard. So we struggled to transition from that. Odegaard came back in November, if I'm not mistaken. Then a month later, we lost our best attacking player. Then I think 2 weeks after Saka, we lost Havertz. So we lost our two most productive players in the front line, and yet we're supposed to, cope with this and stuff. Weren't producing. Saka was the second highest goals and assists guy in the Premier League. How are they not like producing good? Like it's shocking to me. Take out Salah from Liverpool for 4 months. They will finish in the Europa League. He makes up 70.
That
He
that
makes up.
that
He makes
comparison
up.
is invalid because
No, it is. It's very valid. It's
no, because
very valid
Salah,
because
Salah, Salah is you don't have a Salah in your team, Stefan. You don't have a Salah. You
we
don't have
had we had we had a guy that
you don't
was
have
three
you don't have
goals.
someone
No,
that
no.
makes
We
also
had
one
we had
third
the
of your
second.
output. You don't.
We had the second most productive player in the Premier League. I think he was 3 goals and assists behind Salah in Saka, who was out for 4 months, and then we lost Havertz. So
You know what?
if
I'll
you're
give you an
telling
argument
me,
if you put Havertz and Saka together as one source of output, then fine. Because that together, what they all
okay,
do,
okay, okay, take
that,
out. Okay, then take
that's
out.
us,
If you're take out
Liverpool.
Salah from Liverpool, what do they do, Alex?
Yeah, but you know what?
Salah makes up. Wait, wait. Salah makes up over 75% of their goals and assists this year. What do they do, Alex? I'll tell
But
you what they do. He had
You can
a
you can take Salah out of Liverpool from this. Go back to December, January. Take him out of Liverpool. I think they're still winning the league.
no. They're still gonna win this league because Arsenal had so many
So,
injuries and couldn't
but
and
this is
couldn't
the one
catch
of the
up.
period. Saka and your striker Havertz has been injured. So what's the point?
there was
Because
still
No,
there
no,
was
my no, no, my point is that when Salah had a down year 2 years ago, they finished fifth. That's my point, and he was also injured. So my point is that what Arsenal has done and what Arteta has managed to do, finishing second with all these injuries, is still really good. Because if you looked at Liverpool, what they did when Van Dijk went down, do you remember with Liverpool what happened? They went from champions, they got completely destroyed by Real Madrid in the Champions League, and they were nowhere. They were outside of the Champions League places until the final 2 months
that
of
Real Madrid
uh,
would
uh,
destroy
of the
destroy
league.
but for
So
him
context, the year that they finished fifth with Salah, you understand Liverpool's midfield wasn't like Jordan Henderson was
yeah.
washed.
So suddenly
So this
people. So
season,
yeah. Okay. So suddenly people.
Salah has been 80% of their output. I get that, but their midfield, Gravenberch, Soberslide,
Really, really.
they
Okay. Okay.
they've had
Okay.
a good year. They had a good year this year.
No,
Helping
I'm
them.
saying they had a good year, but Mari, their two best players, you know this. If you take out Salah or Van Dijk from that team, they're a Europa League team. They're Europe. They are nowhere near Arsenal or
uh,
Man City. A
no,
full no.
you,
It's proven. The last 2 years, a fully fit Arsenal and Man City are far better than Liverpool. Have Liverpool changed their squad? No, they haven't. It's the same. It took Arsenal and Man City to have massive injuries. Man City losing the Ballon d'Or winner and their best player, and having defensive injuries also, which they couldn't cope with at the start of the season. Arsenal having the most injuries to their best players and also just in general injuries. Okay. And for their best player, Salah, at the age of 34, to beat Henri's record and to be almost 80% of their goals and assists. Do you really think they're going to repeat this next year at the age of 34? Both of them, they
I'm
played the two 34-year-olds in Gravenberch the most minutes in any of the top 5 leagues. Do you really think they're going to maintain this level next year? No
Steph,
chance.
No,
Liverpool,
No chance.
I
I
think
think they're
Liverpool, I
going
think
to
Liverpool
shop.
with one or two, especially a good right back, add
They can't change
another
trends.
midfielder. I think they're still going to be above you next season. Even listen, even if you've gotten Zubimendi, right?
Why would they be so
Zubimendi
okay?
is done. You're gonna get a striker. Sesko. For,
Gyökeres.
As a Swedish person, if you get Gyökeres, I'll personally throw an egg or two on him during our next Sweden game because I swear if that guy who's 27 right now, because he's 27, he's been a late bloomer. He's been a late bloomer type player. If he with his most with his greatest opportunity, this is probably his one in a lifetime like big move. Like this is where every like club in Europe are gonna
He
inquire
should
from.
move to Arsenal. Yeah,
Then
it would be
then
perfect.
Arsenal when he has clubs like Liverpool, etc. on the line. If he chooses Arsenal, oh, I don't know
Why
what I
would
would
he? Why would he move to Liverpool over Arsenal currently? Why?
because Liverpool, they worked their way. They've worked their way around not having a striker because they've relied on Salah
What
totally.
do you talk? Liverpool. There's not a
You
team in
feel
the
confident
Premier League.
Liverpool,
What do you
if
mean
you
not
feel
having a striker? They
confident,
paid
they're
a
gonna win
hundred
the league
million. They paid 100 million for a guy to put him on the bench. Alex, what are you on about? Not having a
this year.
strike? What?
Nunez,
Yes,
yeah.
Nunez. Yes.
I'm not talking about what they did in the past. If they go spend proper money now on Gyökeres. If they get him, they will finish above you next season, no matter which
Of
kind of
course, I agree with
transfer.
if Arsenal don't get a striker, I still think Arsenal. So what do you explain Arsenal finishing much higher than Liverpool over is Slot a better coach than Klopp, guys? Is that what you guys are saying now?
You
Uh,
can't.
I
No, no,
I
no,
am saying
not at all.
I
That's one season.
Okay,
I
You
okay
can't
then. So
I think
apart from the fact that we have missed Saka and Havertz out for 5 months, Saka for 4 months. What any other Arsenal scored more goals than them last year, fully fit. Like all of our best players were fit most of the year. So were Liverpool's. Arsenal had 7 more points than them. Better defense. The only area where Arsenal didn't have big injuries. I mean, Gabriel, you can argue, but Kivior has done really well. Gabriel, Arsenal are still the best defense in the league, easily. Forget the
Yeah,
goals conceded.
yeah.
If you read defensive metrics, chances conceded, whatever stuff, shots on target, Arsenal are by far the best defense, like they were last year. So I wonder what is the factor that Arsenal have maintained the best defense in the league, but not maintained scoring goals, even though they broke the record last year for the most amount of goals scored for Arsenal in Premier League, more than the Invincible year. So I wonder what factor will make a difference next year. If Liverpool sign Isaac, Alex, I agree with you. If they sign Isaac, great. If they sign,
Isak is not going anywhere. If they
I
if
agree with this. I
they if
completely
they if
agree.
they
I
if
don't think
Isak
you
can
can.
finish above you, he's not going anywhere.
I will
No,
say
he's
this.
a,
I will say this. And I'm gonna say this. And I'll be honest. I know Star says this, right? I'm not saying the Zuba signing, right? Though we're going back and forth. All I said was Zubimendi may have a great year this year. Just saying, not saying next year. I'm just saying this current year. But if you sign a proper striker, and it seems like Gorky is going to be coming in, like from you know,
no.
you
It
can see,
doesn't. It doesn't seem who's the favorite. It seems
yeah,
that Berta loves
yeah.
Gyökeres from
So
Atletico.
this year, this incoming season for Arteta, and you have to say this. If he doesn't win, and I'm gonna say major, I'm not gonna say Carabao Cup. I'm not even gonna even say the FA Cup. If he doesn't win the league or the Champions League, man, you're gonna have to look for somebody else to cross over that line because that
Now,
would be year
if
six.
if he signs forwards, he has no excuse next year. No excuse. I agree. If we sign a top four, if we sign Gyökeres, I think it's a three-man list. I think it's Gyökeres, it's Sesko, and the plan B option I think will be Watkins. I think if we don't sign those first two, the problem is now is the politics, which I like. I want Berta to come in and ruffle. I don't want Arteta to have autonomy over absolutely everything. So let's see who we decide to pursue. Is it going to be Sesko, who we tried to sign last summer, but he rightfully chose to stay at Leipzig? Or is it going to be Gyökeres, who's a more proven, his goal scoring record is ridiculous, who's a more proven player? We're going to sign a forward. It is like the 4 games that we got knocked out. If you watch the first leg against Newcastle, go see the stats. Arsenal should have scored 4 goals in that game. We didn't. PSG away, we missed so many chances. We should have, again, XG was for Arsenal was almost 3. We scored only 1 goal. Man United at home when we lost in the FA Cup on pens, we should have scored 4 goals in that game. It is painfully clear what Arsenal need. It is so obvious what they need. So they will sign a striker. And even, I don't care, Mari, sign fucking Delap. I don't give a shit. We need some new blood. We just need a real striker, a real number 9, and I'll be happy. I'll be thrilled if we sign Watkins, because you know me about Watkins. I love Watkins. I think he's a top player. So for me,
just
we
don't
need
touch.
to sign.
Don't
We
touch
need
my
to sign a
sweet.
striker.
Don't touch.
Sorry?
I've noticed, wait, hold on, MK, I've noticed you've been trolling us hard. Actually, nice to live. Actually, nice to Liverpool. That's not true. We might definitely have it. We have a say. We're going to play in the final, and if we win it, we're in the Champions League. So,
Yeah. Honestly,
I mean,
guys, if
what
you
Don't forget about the
win,
Super Cup. Don't forget about the Super Cup.
we have a say. Yes, we're 17th. Yes, we're dog shit. But because of the Europa League, whatever quality is, we have a say. Like or not, us and United have a get out of jail free card. So like it or not, we got a fucking say.
no, it's just
This
yeah.
guy must have a chicken up his ass the way he's obsessed with us. Because I see him in here like every.
No,
This
we
guy,
have
this
a
guy
we
hates
have, we
us.
have a
He
say.
hates us more than Everton. He hates us more than.
We have a say. We
Guys, how amazing would it be
have an
if
opportunity.
no, I know it's bad for you, but if Man United win the final and then beat Liverpool in the Super Cup, that would be amazing. That would be hilarious.
Super Cup, no Super Cup. We're gonna face the winner of the Champions League, bro. So that's.
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad.
Yeah,
I
I mean
forgot.
that's why that cup is gonna be more difficult than the final we have in front of us now. So
Mari, I told you about Inter, Mari. I told you about Inter.
Dude, that was a classic. It was literally, I mean, hitting post.
Watch them beat PSG 1-0.
Yeah.
They're gonna beat PSG.
No, don't sleep.
Inter are the best team.
Don't sleep
If
on
Arsenal
PSG. I agree with you.
if Arsenal had a forward, we would have knocked out PSG.
But PSG, give Luis Enrique credit. Like they did what they had to do.
No. They're a good team.
Say
They're
that
a good team.
they don't have a chance. They have a chance. Yes,
No, I'm not saying they don't.
they're the favorite, but I would not be surprised if PSG wins it. And I'm always like, and I know people don't believe, but I always feel like, man, there's a moral to the story. Like I get this weird feeling that PSG, because of France, Marseille, haven't won since '93. To have Messi, to have Mbappe, to have Neymar, and Mbappe's been there longer. For him to leave, to them to win, it's almost like a Hollywood, like it's like.
No, it just shows, Mari, like you always talk about how you hate the new generation of players. There's no flair players because of systems. The system and having a core team that works hard and there's no prima donnas or divas on the pitch that, let's say, luxury players like a Neymar. He's an amazing player, but he doesn't track back. Let's be honest. Is a great, but can we calm down about the acting as if Luis Enrique, PSG paid the highest wages in world football? Like, can we calm down about, oh my God, they've done it against the grain and like fuck, like it's he pays the highest. Ousmane Dembele is an amazing player, but he's one of the highest paid players in world football. Marquinhos, apart from Van Dijk, is the highest paid defender in world football. Like they're not paid like Nuno Mendes and Hakimi, I'm guessing are probably the highest paid fullbacks
Yeah.
in world
Give
football.
me,
So it's not like
It's not like that. It's not.
yeah.
They're younger players. They're not on crazy contracts like
but they
Trent.
are
What,
but they
what,
are
what was
because
Trent on?
PSG
What was
have the
Trent on?
highest wages in the
Yeah, but
world.
they're young. Those wages are a lot down to their like core. Who's their Marquinhos, for example? He's their highest.
No, Marquinhos, Dembele is really highly
Yeah,
paid.
them fellas, but the rest of them, like
Hakimi, massive
Hakimi, yeah,
salary.
all of those seniors, they're
Oh,
really
sorry, I
good.
forgot. I forgot the highest paid goalkeeper. Also, forgot about him. Donnarumma,
Yeah.
massive money.
Yeah, I would love to see PS mostly because my passion, like I love Enrique as a manager. As a person, that guy is just he's yeah. Even after what happened with his daughter, the way he's carried on with management, like he lost his 9-year-old daughter to cancer, and he just kept going. With management, he's never stopped.
I like him. Yeah.
Passion and but like if that I don't care about PSG, oil money, all those woke arguments like seeing a Qatari owned club win this. I don't give a shit. I
Yeah.
would love to see Enrique win it, and because I have ties to AC Milan and my family, I wouldn't enjoy seeing Inter win it, not at all.
I
Even
would
though
say,
they're been a really really great football team this year, because the way they
I
are side.
think, yeah. I think both teams deserve. I love Inter's just the way they've transformed themselves under
yeah.
they brought in the CEO from Juventus, and he transformed the whole club just like he did Juve.
My Italian team, they're making money. I have a
No, no,
video.
no, they are.
I
If you
can't play
take
it.
out, yeah, no, I
They,
completely agree. If you
yeah,
take
they're
out,
like 132 mil. They're playing the Club World Cup. They're about to make another 100 mil. That
no,
competition.
forget that, Mark. If you look at their wages, they're like one of the. I think they're like 14th or 15th in terms of wage expenditure.
They can
PSG are
finally buy
top.
players. They can finally buy players into it.
No, no, they do exactly what. That's the specialty of the guy, the CEO. He looks at value in like older Mkhitaryan, Darmian, and he looks at, okay, these are good players that are maybe past it, but can a coach still get a little bit more, still squeeze a little bit more out of them? And that's what they do. Acerbi, 37, players like this who are they remind me a little bit of the old Milan teams, if you remember. They had a number of old heads, they had experience, they always signed, defenders. So I've always, unlike Alex, I've always had a soft spot. Inter are my favorite Italian team since the
Now,
best. The
now,
best team I've ever watched in the Serie A, the most entertaining team was the Vieri Adriano partnership. That was the
Mm,
best. That was such a good team. Dejan Stankovic, and so I've
Stankovic,
always had
yeah.
I've always had a soft spot for them.
Yeah, but
So
you know what the thing is with Inter? The notion around them is that they play this absolutely this terrorist football, and they're this
they
way.
do though. They do. Look,
They're one of the most when they
you
get
know what
when they
Klopp
get
say?
into gear, and when they don't get tactically like you know because some teams they can tactically outweak him, and then they won't have a shot on target for 90 minutes. But when they go against a team that just that doesn't try to adapt, they just plays it like Barca did. They didn't go into that game thinking like
no, Barca. No, I disagree,
that's
Alex.
when
Barca lost that game because of Barca. Because
yeah,
The
but
high
that's what I'm
line.
what
saying.
is wait, what
They
is
went
in the
into the game and didn't
93rd?
want to adapt their style. They just
High
pushed
line. The high line
The
high.
was
high what is Did you see their line in the 93rd minute? That's why they
yeah,
scored.
Dumfries. Yeah, like Durham and
What are you
Dumfries.
doing? Like,
Like, oh,
why are, first of all, they
drove me,
had their fullbacks pushed up and two defenders in the 93rd minute in the back.
drove
What are
me
you
crazy.
doing?
Oh man, no, you're right, Stefan. I want to get to this question. because there's also a big talking point with it, and I wanted to get your opinion. And like I said, I love banter, and I love, and when we have it in the show, I love bantering Arsenal and vice versa. But is there a line? And so I've heard, the Eagles argument, and I've heard the
Mm-hmm.
others, and I know that it's been worse. And some people say so. The whole, bridesmaid, um, Arteta. There are those who say, suck it up. It's banter.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
been worse. There's been racism and whatsoever. But
It's
then I
racism.
understand.
How is
But
it
no, no,
racist?
no, 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 not that one. But this is
Yeah,
there's been worse, like racist, like
yeah.
if you go to a Lazio Roma game, and
Okay, that's
yeah,
another level, Mark.
and some other places. So I guess some people are mad because it's just like, all right, from man to man, like why would you do that to his manhood? Put him in a dress
I mean,
Nah.
it's
whatsoever. And so I mean I can hear it. I can understand although for me I'm like, this is football. There's been 20 times worse. Pig's head, Figo. So I wanted to get from you, Stefan, in the view. Did you think
no,
it was over the line, the whole Arteta
no, no,
dress?
no, no. If you don't want them to make these posters, win the league. You know what I mean? Let them talk shit. They can talk shit. Like there was this famous NFL player who, the players, there was like this fight at a game, and because they won the game and then they were away, so they went in the middle of the pitch on the Dallas Cowboys star and like planted a flag,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
the
there
flag.
was yeah, and then there was a brawl and shit, and he's like, and the famous like NFL legend was like, if you don't want them planting a flag or celebrating, don't let them win.
I'm scared.
And yeah, and I completely do. I think it's a bit. I mean, Liverpool fans have, for all their success and everything, have always been the least, I would say, apart from maybe Chelsea and Millwall, probably the least classy club. Like the amount of shit that they have, whether it's, terrorists and racists, when they did the whole shirt defending Suarez bullshit, if you remember. Like they've done it's the Liverpool fan base is a bit, I mean, look at their reaction to Trent going to Real Madrid. So is it a bit classless? Yeah, but would Arsenal fans do that to Liverpool? No, they would. I don't think Arsenal
So it
would.
goes to this question, right?
Yeah.
Because Man City, Tottenham, Chelsea, the other rivals haven't really gone hard. Even United with the deep
No,
hatred.
see
haven't
what
gone-
the
Arsenal,
saddest thing.
Arsenal. No, this year I noticed that Arsenal and Liverpool have gone back, like back
No,
and
because no, because yeah, and I'll tell you why.
yeah,
Because
because
Liverpool,
Liverpool feel that Arsenal fans disrespected them the most. But I
no,
can
we
get
didn't.
Arsenal fans because
Paul
Arsenal,
Thompson was
if
tough.
City if City drops off, we are the team, and then Liverpool crash. So I'm throwing out to you, like the hate between Liverpool and Arsenal this year.
No, it's more Liverpool insecurity because of the fact that at the start of the season, and this is why I hate that fan base the most, Mark. Like I can't stand Liverpool fans. I really can't. I honestly I hate them more than Spurs fans. I hate, even in high school when they were shit before Klopp. Like you'd go up like they think they'd invented football and stuff. So just some of the they got really insecure because of the fact that all of the pundits put Arsenal and Man City, and they said, oh, they have a new coach, and this is what annoys me is that if you had asked Liverpool fans at the start of the season, I did shows with people. They didn't want to put expectations on their season. They
Oh
didn't
yeah,
want to even put expect. So now to act as if
Lloyd
like
was the only one that said Liverpool's gonna win. Not Hassan, not Don Hassan, not Monts.
nobody, no, I don't know who
But
is
it was
that.
Julian Lee was the only one that said, "I think Liverpool's going to win," which I was like, "Oh wow, okay."
Okay, I mean that was okay, but for me, if you spoke to Liverpool fans, nobody wanted to put any expect. They were even scared to put a prediction, which To me, if you want to act like a big club and we're all about winning and stuff, to now be able to say, okay, we should get at least third place or Champions League football,
I would
and
agree.
then to act like you've been wronged 6 months later, and you've been like, why did you downplay us? Why did you, when you downplayed your own chances? Most of the Liverpool fans did. I wouldn't say even most, all of them almost. And then to act as if
Stefan,
Arsenal
do you know
kind
what
of,
I think it is? I think it is that they have absolutely no expectations of Slot. That's what I think it is. Like
yeah,
when
but
they
okay,
after Klopp, they thought like, oh, we're gonna have to go over this whole entire process again. And you know, when Klopp came in, he didn't take the Prem by storm. You know, and that's where they're
yeah,
that's where
but
they're
again,
like,
this is such a poor
not
argument,
mistake.
Alex.
He's fired it up from the start, and he hasn't.
He hasn't.
Like,
He came
even when
in
people said
into
Liverpool
already.
gonna fall off, Liverpool are gonna
Wait,
fall
wait,
off.
wait, Alex, Alex. He
They
came
haven't.
in when Klopp came into Liverpool. He had Mamadou fucking Saka and Dan Lovren in defense. Okay, he had a shit
Yeah,
team. He
I
had
know the
Benteke.
squad right now is top. I know.
Yeah,
I'm not.
okay, okay. So he comes in into two generational players in Van Dijk and Salah, the most expensive front line in the Premier League. If you look at all of the players that they have bought, more expensive than Man City, far more expensive than Arsenal, and people are acting as if Slot did this fucking miracle, as if like, oh my God, he's, let's forget the context of Man City and Arsenal literally losing all of their best players for prolonged periods of time, something Liverpool have never coped with ever when it's happened to them. But like,
Liverpool haven't had injuries this season. That's what.
exactly, exactly. And when they have had when they had injuries last year, which was Salah missing 3 games and then coming back and losing form, they went to complete shit in 3 weeks. Do you remember last
Yeah,
year how
yeah,
they
yeah,
capitulated?
yeah.
Yeah. So
But
this
Slot himself, like he no Liverpool fan at the start of the season said like their expectations were to get back into like
okay.
to be in
Yeah.
the Champions League, to be in the top four
No,
throughout.
no, Alex. If you
That's
spoke to
where
most Liverpool
no
fans,
Liverpool fan expected Slot has to win it in his first season. Nobody
no,
expected
no,
that.
no. If
So he's
you if you
there.
if you if you spoke to,
That's what
yeah,
I mean.
the vibe I got, Alex, especially at the start of the season, was first no expectations in the league. So let's see how it develops. We're a massive club though, but let's see how it develops. Like it's like Spurs when fucking Ange came in. Let's see how it develops and shit like that. It was exactly like no expectations, and maybe if we can do like a good cup run, maybe win a League Cup or an FA Cup. That is the vibe I got from the Liverpool fans that I spoke up. So now, as you just pointed out, Alex, that you spoke to all your Liverpool friends and they didn't have, now suddenly they're all feeling wronged. They're all feeling cocky and arrogant now that, oh, look at Arsenal. They spoke shit to us, Man City, this and that. Like I'm
Stefan,
watching like
no
clips.
offense, but I think under Arteta, like every fan of a Prem club and like everybody hates you. Honestly, I think
No, it's
everybody
fine.
hates
No,
you. Like
let them.
everybody hates us. It's a North London thing, bro.
Yeah, yeah, of course. No, no, of course.
Don't
But
expect
but I'm saying,
Arsenal
but
of
I but
from
I'm
them.
saying, don't act like you didn't put the same expectations on your club. So why are you acting all wrong? Like, oh fuck, like you guys downplayed us. You downplayed yourself. You said no
It's true.
expectations.
It is true. I
Yeah,
mean,
Yeah.
I,
So why?
at
So
the
why
end
are
of the
you?
day, at the end of the day, he was a Dutch man. He came from the Eredivisie, and what happened with the last manager? That like all those things. Nobody, no other fan, no other like oh no other club, no like you and me. Nobody in here said Slot.
Alex, I actually know
Slot is
you're
gonna win it.
wrong. No, no,
No,
Alex,
nobody said
Alex,
that. So it's not a one sided thing. You know,
no,
nobody
no,
expected.
Alex, you're actually Mark, and he watched some of the shows I was on. I said this is bullshit. I predict you to finish third, like you did. Like you have the same squad. You didn't buy anybody, but you're still far better. Your squad is far better than Chelsea or the Newcastle or any of the other contenders for the top four. So I predict they didn't even want to predict the season finish. Alex, Mari remembers this.
a lot of them they didn't pick the only one person, and I watch a lot of content. The only person who chose Liverpool to win the league was an Arsenal fan that was good in the league, and he said it for the months. And months said I don't know about that. It's City and
No,
Arsenal.
you cannot find from
And
all of
Mons
their
is a
fun.
and Mons is a big Liverpool fan, but I think he's a little bit front run because he the beginning of the season in front of Gunnar Lee said Liverpool's gonna win, which I was surprised. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, he said Liverpool's gonna win. He's the only one on the
No, he
content.
said that. I remember Gunnar Lee said that because we didn't sign a number 9. That's why he
Yeah,
said it.
yeah.
He
But
said
he said
Liverpool are gonna win.
he's a
I can
Liverpool.
see it. Odegaard, our best creative player, is out for 3 months. We're not gonna win, guys. I can see it.
He
And
said
he's like, and yeah, I remember. But it was more of a reaction to what had happened to Arsenal of Liverpool winning, and to what happened to Man City when Rodri went down in August.
he said it before. He said it before the injuries. He said
No,
it.
he said. I said third. I said third. But the Liverpool fans that I was on the panel with, they didn't want to give a prediction. They said, "Let's see what happens."
Stefan, I think you forgot that Liverpool didn't sign. They didn't sign a player. They didn't sign.
Yes.
They signed
Yes,
Managerial.
sir.
They
They
said
said
sign.
yes.
They
And
signed
that's why
Managerial.
and that's why
And he's
this
not even at the club.
season that's why they have had the luckiest season, in my opinion, of all time, in which the two main rivals that
More
finished
than Leicester.
far.
More
Yeah,
than
the
Leicester.
luckiest. Yeah, you cannot. The two rivals, both of them, have had the worst possible injuries, have completely dropped. Liverpool went out of all competitions by February, so they had only one game a week and they had a massive lead anyways. And on top of this, their three best players, which were Gravenberch this year, Van Dijk, and Salah, played the most minutes in all the top 5 leagues in Europe and didn't get a single injury. Two 34-year-olds
I
playing
don't think I don't
game,
think you
but
put that down to luck because something is
that
right
is
in
luck.
Liverpool.
That is luck. That is luck.
Oh no,
Yes,
because the way Salah, for example, his fitness, I don't think no many players in the world come close to Salah in terms of
Alex. The last two
Van Dijk.
years,
Though Van Dijk, you could argue, because but you know what Van
That
Dijk,
was surprised.
when you look at Van Dijk playing for Liverpool this season, I haven't seen him done the work Mickey Van
I
Dijk
agree. No,
has to
no.
do for Spurs. Run
Let's.
half the.
Okay. Oh,
I haven't seen those kind of
I'm gonna confirm
he's
this.
he's had to defend in a modest manner where he's at his best. I haven't seen Van Dijk. Slot is not going to ask Van Dijk to do
what are you talking about? Liverpool.
that he isn't good
Liverpool
at.
play. Liverpool play with
And
the
look,
same suicidal high line as you guys do.
no,
I'm, I'm gonna say this too. I'm gonna throw this in here now. And mind you, I know what you're gonna say, and I'm gonna say this. And I've said it before. Good luck at Atletico Madrid. The season has not been your best. Bye bye. Go. When I look at Arsenal, right, and mind you, there's Brazilian Gabriel and there's Arsenal Gabriel. But in these last couple of months, and I'm like I said, I watched the shows, and they calling this guy out.
Saliba.
Not saying that he's good, but this guy's been making a lot of mistakes. Arsenal sure miss Gabriel because Saliba has been like, what's going on with Saliba these last couple of months?
He made no. He's made. He
average
hasn't
and
been.
mistake game.
No, he does. He's
But the same conversation goes for Romero.
no. Guys,
switched off.
can we stop this?
Wait, I'm not comparing how they switch off. Saliba has switched off. He's when he does a mistake, it's not a slight like, oh shit, he accidentally no, it's like a mistake. It's a proper mistake that costs you in actually important games where we have to get a result.
Yeah,
When that has happened, I've heard the amount of criticism he's got, but what does that go down to? Because Gabriel is injured, or because
No, I
because
just honestly, I think
when Saliba got injured in that
no. I
that,
agree.
that
I
2022-23 season,
Saliba,
Gabriel looked shit. He looked shit when he didn't have Saliba. Like all those
guys, they're human beings.
you can't
They
forget.
have a drop in form. Saliba has played a lot of minutes this year. Like he's either maybe he's carrying some sort of a knock, I don't know, or he's just dropped in form. So the last few games, but if you watch the games in the Champions League against Real Madrid, although he made the mistake in the second leg, he was sensational. In literally in the first game, he was amazing. In the second game, apart from the mistake, he was also really, really good.
Partey messed you guys up in the second leg. He got way even harder.
But Partey was so good. If even though he made the mistake and Hakimi scored, the midfield, man, we dominated them in France. Like we had more possession, more shot. Like Partey played really well in that game. So it's easy to focus on one mistake because Hakimi scored from it. But Partey was really good. Even the first where you called the header out.
Thing
Yeah,
counts.
okay. The header out from Partey, Fabian Ruiz shot it and it deflected perfectly into the corner. Like I get the header wasn't the best, but like it's still a little bit of bad luck for that to happen. But I just think it's really harsh to look at Saliba. Yeah, has he been the typical super high level that he's still part of the best defense in the league. He's still, Arsenal are still good, but has he been at his best? Maybe not. But um, it's normal for me. He needs a rest. In my opinion, he's played a lot of minutes this year.
Are you guys looking
So
at it? Because I know you got Kill. Are you guys looking at it third?
Kivior, by the way, Kivior,
Are you looking at
Kivior, I thought he was finished at Arsenal, but the last 2 months he's been so good, Martin.
so you
So
don't want to look for a third center back, maybe for rotation.
I mean, you know Arteta, he fucking loves the defender. I think we need to sign, if we can, if money allows it, we do need to sign a right-sided defender. I told you, Guehi, I would take him any day of the week. I'd love Guehi.
Guehi he's not gonna come to Arsenal to be rotation. He's gonna demand a starting spot. There's no way you sign a
No, there's no,
caliber level of
see,
Guehi. They're gonna want to
no,
start. They're gonna want to start. You won't be able
no,
to.
there's no play. If you go to a top club that Arsenal currently are, Liverpool, you're not gonna tell the manager we want a guarantee. First of all, no top coach will accept this because
No, no,
Guehi's
no.
gonna come
I
and
get what you
compete
mean, but he's gonna look at Gabriel and Saliba, and even
and
though he
say
probably believes in
and
himself,
yeah,
why
okay,
wouldn't he go to like a Liverpool
okay,
who has an
because
injury prone Konate and that like
because if he has a top character and mentality, he will say like Kivior. Kivior has the top character. Kivior could have sulked, could have been shit. He got thrown in the deep end and excelled. He didn't sulk. He didn't like play like Spence. Spence is an example as to why Nuno and or sorry, not Nuno, Conte and any of the managers in Ange didn't rate him because Spence started really well for 2 months. Did I think it was unfair that Ange dropped him? Yes. But watch what happened to him. He did his fucking podcast after 3 months of good play, 2 months or something like that. And ever since then, it's gone downhill. Why? Because Udoji came back, Porro came back, and they're starters. And the last game against Crystal Palace, he was absolutely horrendous. So for me, that shows mentality. And if Guehi is a top player and has
But
a top
that's not
mentality, he will say, you know what? Saliba has looked shaky at times. Maybe he might need to take a break. I'm gonna come and compete. And I have proven I am a Premier League proven defender. I will compete and beat him out if he has a top mentality. The same way Gabriel does. The same way Gabriel is an example. People downplayed Gabriel before, if you guys remember. They said Gabriel is only good because of Saliba. Now he's completely changed that narrative. Now they're saying actually Gabriel actually might be the best defender at Arsenal because he's played so well. So for me, I care about the players. If a player comes to me and he wants to play at a top club and tells me, listen, I'm gonna come only if you guarantee me a place, fuck off.
no, that's what
Go somewhere. Go
that's
somewhere
not,
else.
I'm not saying it as in terms of like he's gonna make that demand to the club. I'm saying it as in when he evaluates his options, he's not gonna want to go to a club that already looks stacked in defense because the amount of defenders you like what, and if he goes if he leaves Crystal, I think if Crystal Palace get into Europe this season by winning the Europa League, then I don't see many of their players like being, because that's gonna be for many of them the first
Oh
time
no, 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 Alex, they're gonna sell them because Eze and Guehi have 1 year left on their deals, man. They're gonna sell him. They
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to.
yeah. Okay, well, one of them is gonna leave, but I don't think they're gonna have a total like clear. Because if they get into
No,
Europe, then
yeah.
they have a case to make.
But
They can
Alex
even look at us.
also,
They can even look at us and like, well, either one of Spurs and United won the Europa League. Why can't we do that? In case
but Alex, don't
those
forget.
kind of things you can
You're
you can
right. No,
kind of
you're completely right. You're completely right about the competition. Like you're going into, if it's Arsenal, you're going into the best defense 2 years running, into a very developed partnership that you're trying to break away. I agree, the competition is tough, but you're also forgetting the politics of it, which is, let's be honest.
do you think he'll put his Chelsea past behind him and like totally? Do you think he'll do that?
I I honestly think he would be a complete moron if he moves to Chelsea. I really do. I
You're
really
talking about
think.
Gagey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we
I-
get him.
Yeah,
Is it?
I think.
Yes, is it linked to
I
Newcastle?
think. Yeah, I think Newcastle, or I think Villa get him also.
Yeah, and Stefan, we were talking in the chat because I'm saying Newcastle is one of my dark horse. I think next year's Premier League is going to be exciting because I think it's going to be
Newcastle can't play every 3 days, Mari. They can't.
City, Liverpool. I think they learned from a couple years ago. They're better prepared now. I think
They haven't.
First
They
time-
couldn't even. They couldn't. Steve will tell you every time they had a midweek.
time for them. And so now this is the second time around in the Champions League with League. I think their front office is going to set up, get the right moves, get the right depth to do better than they did the first time around. I really think it's gonna be a good 14.
But Mari,
Yes.
but Mari, the issue with Newcastle has always been injuries because their style of play is so intense that when they play every 3 days, the reason why they had a poor league run last year was because they had so many injuries last year. This year, Steve will tell you every time they've had 2 games a week where they've had a midweek Premier League game, they don't win both games, right, Steve?
Nah, it's
Until
gotten better.
recent.
They can finish
It's
above
gotten
you
better
this
this
season.
year. It's gotten better this year. So I'll give you an example. We played. Who was it? We
Palace.
played someone
I remember you beat
5-0.
Palace. Yeah, but that was recent. At the start of the season, I remember you did shit. You were terrible.
Oh, yeah. I was. Yeah. I was complaining about. Yes.
Yeah, so Newcastle, I love their coach. I just don't think one they have the squad. Isaac is injury prone. So whenever they're gonna play,
To be fair, this year he's sorted it out. Isaac, he sorted it out this year. I don't
he
think
sorted it out because they've had 1 game a week pretty much the whole season.
Listen, do you know what you need in order to win what do you need in order to win the Premier League is you need X factor and you need like experience in terms of, I'm not talking experience like a 30+year-old. I'm talking someone who's won it before, someone who's been in situations.
Lamine Yamal's experienced. He's 17.
Say again.
Lamine Yamal's experienced and he's 17. So it's not even an age.
Yeah,
thing.
experience and confidence, like all of those things have to be in place. Liverpool, they have that. They've had it, and that's why they've won the league this year. I think if you look at, I'm gonna bring Arsenal up. I don't think Martinelli is X factor. I don't think he produces. I don't think he's gonna come up in the moment when everything looks against you. He's gonna come up and he's gonna take you out of
I
there.
agree.
Squad
Saka,
player.
okay,
But that's why, Alex, I said forwards. I've told Mari this since last summer. A 9 and a top left winger.
Yeah, but
Give
how
me-
realistic do you think that is when you've signed Zubimendi? You probably look.
Oh, we have.
probably
We're
look
gonna
hungry
we're
to
gonna
go and sign,
break.
like someone like Juan Garcia. All of those.
I'll tell you.
Juan Garcia's linked
I'll
with
tell
us
you,
as
Alex.
well.
I'll tell you, Alex.
You don't break Chelsea's record? Are you about to say that?
No, we're not gonna break Chelsea's record.
Oh, okay.
We have a lot of money this year because we got to the semifinals of the Champions League. So we're gonna have a ton of revenue, extra revenue, and on top of this, last summer, our net spend last summer was 0. So we didn't spend, in terms of the amount of outgoings, and we didn't spend any money last year compared to what we actually brought in. So our net spend is 0. We are super healthy in terms of financial fair play. From all the, I don't know how they analyzed it, but they said Arsenal can spend around 300 million with no issues. Do I think we'll spend? No. I think we need, it's not that much money, man. Gyökeres or Sesko will be, I would say, 60, 70 million. Maybe Sesko might be a little bit more, 75 maybe. From what I read,
Don't.
I agree.
Telling you right now.
I would like even though Steve, when you watch Sesko, I think in 2 years this guy's gonna be one of the best, man. He has everything. Like he has absolutely everything. And people, the thing that kind of makes me think about Sesko in a similar way is when Isaac went to Newcastle, he had only scored 4 goals that year. But you could
I
tell
was one of the only people that said, because I watch him regularly. I've watched him since 2018.
No, yeah.
This guy is he's that kind of striker that yeah, when he plays in a team that this was old Isak. Now he's the amount of development he's done, like individually, is just insane. But
No, he's
when
yeah,
he
he's
played,
developed.
in a system that stifled his like source of service, and when he plays in a like when he plays for a team that is low possession, that he's not going to be that, because for Sweden it was like that. That was the situation. You can look at his Sweden stats. He has like now he has like 13 goals and like 55 appearances for Sweden. And that goes down to our former manager that we had for what is it, 6, 7, 8 years. He was one of the worst. He was on a like he played some proper like Italian old school 4-4-2.
4-4-2. Forsberg
Yeah.
is like the left
Yeah,
mid
and
or
Isak
whatever.
in that system, like you could see the amount of like he could go games where he just got the ball like 5, 6, 7 times.
Yeah.
So in those kind of situations, when you have strikers like that, then yeah, Isak, I knew it. The second he moves to
No,
a
but
high
nobody. No,
tempo
you
team
could.
like Newcastle, he was gonna. I just
No,
knew
you
that.
could tell. You could tell he had major talent, but nobody expected him to be, I would say, as good as he is now. I don't think so, but you could see it. And with Sesko, you could see he has everything. He's super athletic. He's amazing in the air. He's got
Don't like
good.
his intelligence though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree,
He
but
makes some
with
like
good coaching, with Arteta, who has improved pretty much every single young player in that team, every single player.
Martinelli.
I mean, Martinelli still hasn't, the only player that's regressed, but Martinelli was the best under him. He scored 15 goals under him. Every other player that you can name, Saka has gone up a level. Rice has gone up a level. Like
He's not a
every
young
single-
player though, Rice.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not saying
Rice
he's
came.
old.
Okay, but Rice has improved. Gabriel compared to
Sure.
when he came.
That's
Saliba,
okay.
Ben White. Just look
Timber.
at. I mean, Timber was good at Ajax, but yeah, Timber this year has been amazing.
Timber.
Lewis Skelly, look at the development he's come in like the last
Yeah.
2 seasons.
Yeah.
So I think Sesko in 1 or 2 years, he's a bigger risk. That's the issue for
If
me.
you got if you got Sesko as like your backup striker, let's say you saw Jesus.
No, nobody's getting a backup striker, Steve, for fucking 75 million, man.
Then
Nobody's gonna pay. If Sesko comes in, he's gonna be the main guy. The issue is that I think the argument is, I think Gyökeres is the better player currently, but I think
you'd have to change the way you play. You know that, right? He's not. He is
I don't
awful
think
in
so.
the air. If you do low,
He's awful.
Gyökeres is very good at those first time finishes, like those low driven crosses. He's not good in the air.
I think he's not good
He
in
is
the air.
not good in
No,
the air.
wait.
I
I think he's not.
Gyökeres, he plays. He doesn't play like Arsenal. They're gonna be high position. They're gonna be pinning teams back. When you have those kind of small and like tight spaces, Gyökeres is good, but when the chances don't come for him, like centrally, when he actually has space in the box, then you can't expect much, and that's how you're gonna
That's
play.
fine.
You're
No, guys, that's
playing on
fine.
the
He's not good in the air. That's all I'm saying.
He's not good in
very
the air. I'll
not
tell
good
you
in
why
the
he's
air.
not good in the air. If you go watch his Coventry games, he is good in the air. But the reason he's not good in the air is because on the stats, it shows that he doesn't win many headers. And the reason is because if you watch Sporting, they barely cross the ball. They always play with wing backs. and then they pump crosses, low crosses into the box towards him, or they just set him off where he actually runs into space from the left wing, which is his like strongest thing. I just, if he's a good player, he would that. Look, I'm not a scout. They have like crazy analytical systems far better than me, so I don't know. I prefer Gyökeres based on the goals and just what I've seen. But I think the ceiling,
the golden boot charts right now.
yeah, he's ridiculous. To score 98 goals in 100 appearances is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
It's worth
I don't
taking
care.
a risk.
Sorry?
It's worth taking a risk because if he even
For
gets
me,
half
no,
of
no,
that,
for me,
it's
no,
worth
no, for me, honestly, Steve, it's a no-brainer. He's cheaper than Sesko. He's cheaper than he'll be, from what I read, between 60 to 65 million, which for me is very doable.
Yeah.
And he's much more, in my opinion, he's much more ready than Sesko. But I do think the ceiling of Sesko potentially is higher. I think Sesko, man, he's got everything. If you, he could be a risk, he could be a complete flop. That's the issue. With Sesko, he
No, what
looks
I'm
to me,
saying is if he even gets half of 98 out of 100, if he gets 45 in 90, then that's
Yeah.
great.
No. But if you read the metrics, right? If we're just basing it on pure stats, Sesko is better in terms of finishing his chances, the difficulty of finishing chances. Sesko is better. Sesko scores more headed goals. Sesko scores
way
more
better.
goals, more goals with his left foot. Gyökeres, if you read a high number, not a high number, but a good percentage of those goals are pens. So that's the other issue that people always, but he scored. Even though I think that's bullshit. If you watch him play, I've watched him play a number of times.
Pens. He gets a fair low spin. You can take his pens away. You can take his
Still has
pens away the season, and he's still on 40 goals. 40,
Here's the thing, guys. If we sign, I told you my 3 targets this year. I told Mario this: Gyökeres, Sesko, and then my plan B if we fuck up with those 2 is Watkins. I love Watkins.
I'm just saying, my heart is gonna break if you get Gyökeres. It's just not that.
Let's see. No. Let's see who's better. Let's see who's better at playing politics now.
It's a weird way. I see Watkins started right off the bat.
Oh, Watkins is such a good player. I love Watkins. I think Watkins.
But I want to go to Steve.
No, wait. I just want to finish this. Off. Let's see politically who's better, Berta or Arteta. If you read the reports, Arteta wants Sesko, Berta wants Gyökeres. And that's why Gyökeres was never linked with Arsenal, or he was, but then he was downplayed by all of the main kind of journalists. But the moment Berta came in, it started exploding about Gyökeres, that Berta loves him, that he tried to sign him at Atletico when he was at Coventry. Let's see who's got sway. Has Arteta still got the final say like he did in the summer when we signed Calafiori, who I think is a top player. He's just been injured all the time. Marino, I mean, in terms of people were laughing at one of the best value signings this year, 30 million. He scored, I think, 11 goals and has like 6 assists and played a striker.
You'll have an entire Real Sociedad midfield next season. Marino, Zubimendi, and Odegaard because he played.
Let's see. I hope we must keep Partey. We must keep Partey. Partey is a top player. We have to keep Partey.
Do you think
I don't care.
This is the next question I want to throw off, and Steve is here. So we both have 2 big games. Tomorrow, I'm not even gonna count that because the guys they don't care. So it's the final, and then Arsenal plays you guys. Nothing has been clinched. Worst case scenario, Arsenal says, "Okay, we gotta beat Southampton, who just drew Man City." Both teams have big games. What are your predictions? What are you seeing? Because it is a big game for Arsenal because they had clinched. You got everybody all mumble jumble through 2nd through 6th position. And then us, we're playing United in the shit cup, but someone has to win it. And we're down Kulu and Madison, possibly Bergvall, and he won't play the 3-5-2. So I don't know how we're gonna pull up a 1-0 victory, but my heart is hoping for a 1-0 victory. Steve, have your say.
All right. Yeah, Villa gonna pimp slap y'all like probably 2-0 or something.
Yeah. 2-0? Wow. I thought 3.
Yeah, it'll be it'll be one of those games where it's like what's it called? It'll be a 2-0 like hammering. Like it'll be it'll be one where it's like they could have scored 8, 9, 10 sort
of. VAR overturn.
No, Spurs are gonna play like Arsenal did against Palace, where you could tell they're not jumping into tackles and shit. Like they were saving themselves. They were worried.
As for Arsenal Newcastle, I'm not super bothered about it. I would take a point right now, and I think that's probably what's going to happen.
No, you want to finish above them.
I don't really care about finishing above them.
If you do, then oh shit.
Yeah, it's for
that's not about finishing. To qualify, I mean, it's like a logjam. You need points.
I watched him against Chelsea. I watched him against Chelsea. I think Arsenal are going to beat them. I wasn't impressed with Newcastle against Chelsea. Second half.
Second half we didn't attack much. That's fine.
You guys.
First half we smoked them though. First half.
Yeah, first half in the first. 15,
the problem was we didn't have our fucking shooting boots on.
No, but the thing with me is second half. No, but Steve, second half, you guys almost shit yourselves, man. Like they were with 10 men and they were attacking, and I was like, "What the hell are you?"
We've seen this before, Stefan. We've seen him. Eddie Howe is more than willing to sit back.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, he is more defensive than people give him credit for.
Yeah, because after the 75th, 80th minute in that game, we just took.
No, I remember when you scored the second goal. It was like the Newcastle players didn't even celebrate. They were like they looked relieved. Like they looked fucking thank God.
Yeah.
Like they were so nervous in that second half. So I don't know.
Eddie Howe is like a lot like Slot. You know why? Because when he switches up like Newcastle did when they absolutely went from like peppering Chelsea, like going from that to we're gonna conserve our energy now. And in case we need to attack, in case Chelsea scored, then we're rested because we haven't played. We've just sat back. We've rested our legs. I'm telling you, this is how Slot plays too a lot. Just wait it up, and if they score, then we have energy to just hit him the other way, and we're gonna score a third. Like that. I like that football. I'm not gonna lie, and I just have to add Isak. He hasn't been. He hasn't been on it at all. Like,
no, Isak's been.
He's gonna turn up against Arsenal. He's gonna turn up, so you can rely on him. If I was Newcastle, we'll see. He's gonna turn up. He turns up against Arsenal. So.
Well, I think it's a good thing that we're not solely relying on Isak to score goals. Like Tonali can get us some goals every once in a while. Bruno, Joel.
I think. Yeah.
Well, Murphy has been.
Murphy's been.
Yeah.
But Murphy's season reminds me a little bit of Almiron.
Don't say it. I knew you were gonna. Almiron. Here's the thing. Since I'm a Newcastle fan, y'all can trust me on this. Almiron had a great 4 months, but then the rest of the season it was like inconsistent as fuck.
Yeah, but Steve, those 4 months. Those 4 months
he was unbelievable. That's why people think he was
like one of the best players in the league. Like that's how good he was.
Yeah.
No, I love Newcastle. I really rate them. The thing with me is that the only midfield that I think that can compete with Arsenal's physicality in midfield is Newcastle. Yeah. But you don't have the main physical player now. So I worry.
Yeah, but Stefan, if you noticed in the game against Chelsea, you know who was doing a Joe Wellington role? Dan Burn.
Who?
He was Dan Burn.
Dan Burn? Oh my God. Oh, okay.
No, bro, he was stepping into the halfway line and then just assaulting motherfuckers, just like Joe Wellington.
True. No, but that's true. But the thing is, it's right. Partey, Rice, without Joe Linton, I think it's a big mystery.
Yeah, but Chelsea fans said the same thing.
No, but Chelsea are not. Arsenal are much better than Chelsea. So it's like I've watched Chelsea. Really, really.
The
They're
table
shit, man.
doesn't separate by much. I think you're the better side, but
Chelsea are shit, man. Chelsea.
I think your style of football is honestly like it's more
It's an
similar.
interesting
More
debate
similar, I think.
because does Casado get in the Premier League?
No, he doesn't. This he's a
Casado
good player.
Yeah.
has been- I mean, trust
Yes.
me, I hate Chelsea, but Casado has been.
He hasn't even been their best player this year. Cucurella has been. Cucurella has
Oh,
been. their
Cucurella's
best
been
player.
great. Yeah.
good.
That's
He's been-
fine.
But
That's
Caicedo, for all you
has
guys,
earned his
for all
paycheck.
you guys that say he's great, and he is, he's a hothead. He loses his head all the time. The amount of times I've seen him completely lose his
Couldn't you
shit.
say the same thing about Lewis Skelly though?
No,
Yeah.
because
He's had some red cards, bro. I'm not saying.
yes,
I'm
one
not
of
saying
them.
Lewis
Okay,
Skelly isn't
okay,
great,
one of
bro.
them.
Lewis Skelly's a sick
Lewis
player.
Smelly.
Could say the
Okay,
same thing
first of
about.
all, first of all, Lewis Kelly, one of them was rescinded, completely rescinded, so it wasn't a red card, and then the other one was just a mistake. That wasn't him losing his head. He just,
Yeah, but I don't think Caicedo has any red cards, bro.
he should have though. He should have
No.
read the amount of times this
I
year.
heard what I said. He should have.
Yeah,
Oh, he should.
trust me, guys. Trust me.
Casado's been balling, man. I know he's finally like this.
Stefan,
Should have scored. Should.
I just don't know why you're holding that against Caicedo. I like
don't-
players that are a bit aggressive.
I like
I'm the
players that are
first to tell you.
aggressive.
I am the first Newcastle fan to tell you that it's a fucking miracle that Bruno Guimaraes has not gotten a red card anytime.
Yeah, which is a joke.
Like,
yeah,
because he and same thing you could say, but you could say the same thing about Caicedo. You could say the same thing about fucking what's his face, Ugarte. You can say
Ugarte, yeah.
Ugarte
Yeah,
is
okay,
good,
okay.
but
Okay,
these
but
players exist.
But wait, Steve. What you're not understanding is there's a difference between being aggressive and losing your head. Caicedo loses
Bruno
his head.
loses his head sometimes.
Yeah,
Bruno
okay, and
Guimaraes.
Bruno too. That's his way. They lose their head and they start running around like headless chickens. They start giving the ball. Caicedo, I've watched him. Whenever Chelsea start losing, he loses his fucking head. He starts going around, like you said. Caicedo should have had at least 1 or 2 red cards this year because of reckless tackles. I just don't rate him as highly as the other midfield. I think for me, this season, the 2 best midfielders in the league have easily been. It's between Gravenberch, Declan Rice, or Gravenberch and
Rice
Elliot.
in the league haven't been what you'd say. He hasn't been that. He hasn't even.
Rice,
He hasn't even.
Rice is the top scoring midfield in his position, the midfielder in the league.
You mentioned a stat that isn't relevant for a midfielder. Like you don't look at scoring.
It's not relevant
Unless
to
you're an
score goals
attack.
into a.
No, but that's not his job. You can't rate him of something that isn't his
Okay,
job.
so
Rice has been great, but primarily in the Champions League, I would argue he hasn't been what you.
he hasn't been great at.
That's
So
facts.
Rice-
I
the best-
think
the
Arsenal
best
in
defense
general,
in the
Ars-
league-
Arsenal in
wait.
general, their best
So
performance has been
Rice, who's a defensive midfielder, as you guys say.
But he hasn't played. He hasn't been playing as a defensive midfielder. Partey
Yeah,
has
but
played
he's still
his-
okay.
his
So
supposed to-
goals and assists don't matter for a midfielder. Okay, then we go to
You can't
defensive
judge him.
midfielder.
You can't judge his
Okay,
general performance of goals and assists when his job isn't that. Like even though it's a
What's
plus,
his job?
it's
It's
a real
okay,
good bonus
defensive-
for a midfielder to have output, like to have
okay,
like, you can't say
defensive-
he's
okay,
been the best
okay.
midfielder in the league because of it. You can't.
okay. Defensively, is there a better team than Arsenal defensively?
No, I would
Okay.
argue the top 2 midfielders this season have been McAllister. You have to put in there, and
McAllister, get the fuck out,
McAllister's been
McAllister.
fucking great, bro.
No,
McAllister's
it's not. The 2 best midfielders have been either Gravenberch or Rice, or Gravenberch and Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest.
Elliot Anderson's been good.
Elliot Anderson has been ridiculous. Elliot Anderson.
If
has been
Tonali was
Underrated,
suspended,
Counter
if Tonali was
Underrated,
suspended
of
for
course,
like the first quarter of the season, I
We
think
gotta
he
give a
was-
shout to Casado. Casado's
Yeah, Casado's been amazing.
he's been
You cannot put a number 6 that's a top player that Chelsea's defense have been fucking shit this year. How can you put a DM who's?
Can you imagine if Casado wasn't there?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Can you imagine if he wasn't
I just think for me, Declan Rice and Gravenberch for me is also pushing it a bit because Gravenberch's final 2-3 months of the season have not been good. Really
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah, but
So-
has the past 2-3 months really mattered?
Yeah, the last
Okay,
year, because they were pressed.
but wait, Gravenberch's performances in the Champions League also against PSG got completely dominated by their midfield. Declan
Yeah,
Rice.
but
didn't.
PSG, bro.
Yeah, but Declan Rice didn't get and Partey didn't get dominated by PSG's mid.
I
Okay,
think
so
the first leg, PSG was they were doing
No,
That was a training game.
no, it wasn't.
I thought they,
Arsenal had
You had
more
some good
shots.
spells.
Arsenal, if you looked at
I said okay, yes, but that first leg, but Fabio
Feels like
Ruiz,
it was a
apart
training
from
session
no,
for
you guys,
60,
no,
70
this is not
PSG.
true. This is not true. Yeah, apart from the first
the
15,
first
20
leg,
minutes,
what do they?
First leg.
apart from the first 15, 20 minutes where Arsenal looked disjointed, yes, Arsenal, if you looked at the stats at the end of the game, had more shots, had higher XG, had
That
more
doesn't
big
matter.
chances.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't say this compared to
All
like.
right, let's do
Yes.
the XG convo. Let's do the XG convo because
Okay.
I have beef with it. I
Why?
don't think it's specific enough.
Okay. So
Okay, so I'll give you an example, right? If it's a World Cup final at Wembley
okay.
and Harry Kane is taking a penalty, his XG, let's say it's, I don't know, 80%. If Nick Pope takes that penalty, who's much more likely to score that penalty? Who is much more likely?
Okay.
You would much rather. It is much more probable that
Okay.
Harry Kane scores a penalty than Nick Pope.
Okay.
because
Okay.
one
Steve,
is
okay.
goal.
I'm gonna.
So that's
I'm
my
gonna-
whole thing with XG. I
No,
don't
you're-
think they measure enough factors. If I took a penalty at Wembley in a World Cup final and Harry Kane did, you can't tell me the XG is the same. You can't.
Okay. So let's say the team combined with higher XG has more possession, has more shots on target, has pretty much everything, has more touches in their box, has more everything, all of the different stats. Like I'll give you an example.
And it still doesn't deserve
Okay.
it.
Yes, of
Still
course,
doesn't mean that you
there's
deserve to
no
win.
XG just
Doesn't.
doesn't for me. XG
still
doesn't
doesn't.
account for.
Of course, there's no stat that perfectly formalizes or predicts the outcome of a game. But let's see, of course, PSG Liverpool
Okay.
at PSG at home to Liverpool. Liverpool win that game 1-0. Does that
Yeah.
tell you everything about that game? Because
No.
if you watch that game and if you read the stats, PSG should have won that game.
No,
4-0.
it's not a should have. It's not a should have.
I know it's not a should have, but I'm telling you that if you look at the stats, although one game sample size is inaccurate, as you would say, because it only focuses in the game and what has happened after that, if you repeat that game, if that team continues to show that level and dominate teams like this,
Are
eventually
you
the
talking about
results
the away
will
game
come.
where Elliot scored in the last?
Yeah,
Last
where
minute.
that was their only shot on target in the
Yeah, to be
88th
fair, that game was
Yeah,
a
that's clinical.
nasty
Okay,
sort
yeah,
of.
but
Sometimes-
Steve,
sometimes-
Steve,
Sometimes you have to win games like that.
but I
That's the
agree.
thing.
But just the way that you say sometimes XG doesn't tell the full story, I can argue that the final result also doesn't tell the full story because PSG in that
Yeah, of
game
course.
absolutely destroyed. Like they should have won that game 4-5. Allison put in his best career performance.
That's the other thing too, Stefan. XG doesn't take into account
Okay,
goalkeepers.
of course it
Like
doesn't.
Donnarumma made some insane saves versus you guys.
Oh,
If
the
that was freaking
fucking
Robert Sanchez in goal, you can't tell me the XG would be.
that's
He's
true.
right up-
That's
If it was
no,
Ramsdale in goal, if it was me in goal, if it was a League Two goalkeeper.
yeah,
you know
but
what I'm
that's
saying?
why. But
That's my thing
XG,
with
but
XG, bro. I don't think it's
XG,
specific enough.
but Steve, that's why XG is just mean. It's just the average. So like, the average number of players from this position score 0.3 times or 0.2. Like that's why they average it. It's of course not fully. You can never have a fully accurate scientific system to predict
So
everything.
then, what is it? That's
It
my
shows-
thing, bro. It's
it
like,
shows-
what's the point of having averages if it's so?
No, it's just a way. It's just a way to document the game and to be able to analyze the game better than before, where it was simply with shots or possession. For example, for me, the worst. Well, I used to get so fucking annoyed when I was an Arsenal fan before when Wenger would come out and say, "Oh, we had 70% of the ball and shit like that." Like, even though we did nothing with the ball. For me, what's more important is when I look at the actual stats. Is okay, we didn't win today, but let me see at the stats. So, for example, Spurs lost to Palace last week. You looked at the stats.
Bro,
Palace,
they got smoked by them.
Palace complete. If you look at the stats, they fit the result. Palace deserved to win completely. The XG
Eze was
yeah, okay, but I'm telling you that it fits. The result fits the actual stats.
Good
The
boy, was.
same with sometimes it might not fit, but that doesn't mean that XG doesn't matter or it isn't accurate. Most of the time, if you look at the XG compared to the result, it usually fits, Steve. Usually, the team with the higher XG has the result. That's my point. And
What's
so,
that based off of, though? Is that just
Do you know what's funny? Do you know what's funny? Some teams they just have this ability. PSG is one of them. When they played you away, and you were just going all at them and like shit. Everybody was like, "Damn, Arsenal."
Donnarumma, no.
Wait,
PSG
hold up,
just
hold
had
up, hold up,
done-
hold up. Let me finish this. Let me finish
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
PSG were like, you know what? This is boring. We're gonna the first attack the first attack they had, they
Yeah.
looked closer to scoring than you did during your like 5 to 10 chances you had.
They look closer to
They
scoring.
did that again. They score. They score whenever they want to. They just have that thing about them. And you know what's funny? PSG don't have a striker. They didn't play with a striker. They play with Doué in the 9. And what I hear from you, Stefan, is if Arsenal had a striker in the game,
Yeah,
we win that game.
yeah,
PSG don't even play with a striker.
yeah.
And
They play
still
with.
in a Maurice.
Yeah, okay. They play with a false nine who's played there for over a year, who's gotten used to the system.
He's what is he? He's 18 years old. He's 18
No,
years old,
no.
man.
Doué played as a striker away. That Dembele scored the goal and played at the Emirates. And Dembele, yes, it is. It is. Sometimes XG doesn't take into account, as Steve said, the quality of the goalie or luck.
or the
Dembele
weather, or the
or
situation
whatever.
of the
Okay,
game, or the
no,
pressure,
or the fact that
the
that
players'
Dembele. No,
previous penalty taking
no,
history.
no.
Don't you
Steve,
think
Steve,
that's
Oh,
important as well?
so I have to
Steve,
mention this too. I have to mention this, and
Yeah.
like I said, it's no disrespect, but like I said, I have a harsh standard to world class and elite and whatsoever. But for me, I do have to say this since we're talking about PSG versus Arsenal in that game, right? We look at Lucas Moore. He had that moment, that hat trick whatsoever. The greatest day of his life, of his career whatsoever. That sitter, after scoring that first goal, was such a massive miss by Saka.
yeah,
Dude,
that was a miss.
if you want to be like the man, that was your moment. Because honestly, I was like, yo, he scores that psychologically. And the game is
They
psychological.
would have.
They
They
would have
would
been
have
like
shat
shit.
themselves. They would have shat themselves.
They were
the last
shit
thing.
against. And I'm like, yo, you have to score that, man. You just have to. Soccer's
No,
good.
no, but wait, Bomari, that's
Good.
easy. That's easy to
Man,
say.
you have to score that.
It was the harder chance than the ball bounced. He didn't expect Donnarumma to leave it, and it bounced. Look, could he have scored it? Yeah, but if you remember the Donnarumma saves in the first, like that Odegaard save, that was
Still an open goal. Until Saka scores that, he isn't world class in my opinion. And it doesn't matter whatever you take into, like, when you have an open goal in front of yourself, when
it
you have
wasn't per
over 10
se an
square
open
meters to
goal.
score on, just totally, it doesn't matter where the ball, how fast it comes, and like,
What do you mean it doesn't matter? It
no,
bounced. He thought Donnarumma was gonna collect it. Donnarumma missed it completely, and then it bounced right in front of him in the last second, and he kicked it with his right foot. What do you mean it doesn't matter?
when I say it doesn't matter, I'm talking about it was your biggest moment of your season, and when it mattered, he shot it. That's what I'm saying.
He scored a goal in the game. What do you mean when it
Yeah,
mattered?
that goal. What did that goal get you?
Let's check the XG in that goal.
Okay,
I honestly
okay,
believe.
okay.
I honestly believe. If you score that second, you will get a third.
Give that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, but I could argue that in the first 10 minutes, if Martinelli scores that goal, or Odegaard scores the goal, or Declan Rice, which was a great header,
Straight.
unlucky inches wide on any other day that could have gone into the actual top corner and the goalie could do nothing about it. Like, you could make these arguments about, like, okay, so then Declan Rice didn't score the header, or Martinelli from the throw in, or sometimes you just have to look. Donnarumma won man of the match both games. That should tell you about the difference in both games. It was the goal. It was Donnarumma. People say in the first, like, the one-on-one save against Martinelli, and then the biggest save against Trossard. And then we can continue the hypotheticals. Marino's goal that was disallowed, he was inches offside, like centimeters. If he was slightly onside, that's a goal. So, like, the PSG game came down to their goalie had an amazing game.
They also
times.
scored very good goals.
They also and let's be honest, the Dembele goal was complete luck. He fucking scuffed it. He scuffed the actual shot. It bounced off the ground and went into the corner. The Fabian Ruiz one was the most I got the most pissed off about.
Are you talking about the first or second leg?
The Fabian Ruiz goal was fucking sick, bro.
It wasn't. It deflected off Saliba, man.
Sick.
No,
it deflected off Saliba. What are you guys talking about?
That's why it was awesome, because it deflected off Saliba. That was why.
Stefan, that's why I just said, forget the goal, the little touch to set him up.
It wasn't a little touch. It changed the trajectory of the ball.
Bro, it was very well taken.
No, it wasn't. Steve, go watch the replays. Go watch the replay.
I said the take to set himself up.
Okay.
Bro, that was beautiful. The little off the chest to set up the shot. That was class.
Okay. It was beautiful, but fuck me, it deflected completely off Saliba.
Yeah, deflections happen.
But it's slight bad luck that your first shot again. All
right, explain the Hakimi goal. Go on.
Oh, sorry. No, the Hakimi. I didn't say anything about the Hakimi goal. Hakimi goal was great.
Okay.
The Hakimi goal was great. I can't.
All right, so let me end the show with this last question. It's a 2-part question. So, you Arsenal does have some point games. Tottenham in this shithole of a season, this horrible manager. I've been checked out for months coming in.
Can you imagine, Mari, if he wins the Europa?
Yo, I need Spurs to win it.
Oh man. And I've already said, Alex knows this.
That happen.
For me, I've been arguing on X, and I'm like, we win the Europa. Of course, I want to win it, and I'm going to celebrate. But because of Paratici coming in, yes, he's going to fire. Well, it's not gonna fire, but they're gonna come to a mutual, amicable.
Can we wait, guys? Can we discuss if we do fire? Just a small discussion, Mari and Alex. If you do fire Ange, who the fuck are you gonna hire?
You know who they might go get?
We'll hire you. We'll hire you. That's how much. That's how much I don't like Ange. I would say thank you. All right, there goes the door. So here's the thing. The question is, who do you think is going to win the Europa? Right? As much as everything I just rolled off, I'm going to say 1-0 Spurs.
How much money would you put on that, Mari?
I plead the fifth. I'm not. I plead the fifth. We win 1-0. Don't ask me how. I'm praying that we play a 3-5-2. Not gonna happen.
Sure.
I pray. Yeah. Basically, it's gonna. I'm hoping it's the worst game ever, and Papa.
I actually think it'll be a decent game. You know, I actually think it'll be kind of chaotic.
It's going to be as bad as the West Ham game. That was the worst game of all of Premier League. West Ham Spurs. That was the worst game ever. But
really, was it that bad? I didn't watch the highlights or anything.
But
It was a game. It was a game of like both
but the
teams
question
went
is-
into the game.
the
They
question
went
is,
into the game like no
if
one to
you do
put it
pick,
back.
if you do say Spurs win, do you feel that Ange is deserving of next season? I say no, because if we know it's going to be like a Monday Ramos season, and no, he said it because he's so fucking stupid. Oh, we have because we had to play the Carabao Cup and the Europa is one of the reasons why we've had. Dude, if you win the Europa, you gotta play the Champions League. We're not playing Bodo Glick and Akmar on the
I
Premier.
don't know, Mari. Bodo Glimt might qualify for UCL through the
We're not
qualifying.
Stop
playing
it, Steve.
They've been close.
the guys
Stefan,
that-
they've been so close the past few years. They lost to fucking Dinamo Zagreb in the playoff round in like the last.
Yeah,
fucking
and then Dinamo Zagreb finished rock bottom in the fucking Champions League groups.
not this
So
year.
my
No,
question
that
is-
was young boys.
who wins?
Was it Young Boys
Dinamo
this year?
Zagreb almost qualified for the.
Oh
top
yeah, they
24.
did. They did. Yeah. They beat Inter, didn't they? Some big team they beat,
No,
right?
AC Milan.
AC,
So
yeah.
basically-
Yeah,
So basically, the
see?
question is,
They
all right,
drew
so-
at Monaco.
all right,
Oh,
Steve.
true.
So basically, I have us 1-0 over United. We're celebrating. I'm going nuts. I'm drinking rum, vodka, whatever. I'm celebrating. And then on June 1st, we say thank you, Ange, for our first important major trophy in the last 30, 40 years. Thank you. Paratici is here. It was nice knowing you. But we
Mark Don. Call him Don Paratici. No, don't forget
Don,
that.
I'll call him Don. Yeah, if he gets it, bye, Ange. Thank you. I'm the Don. I'm gonna bring in whoever. I'll bring in Stefan to coach Tottenham. Thank you, and call it a day. So that's my prediction. Win Europa 1-0. Stefan, your prediction. With Ange and
Honestly, my prediction about this game changes every day almost. Like I really can't. I don't know who's shitter.
Yes, one of those.
I think it's gonna be 1-1 and Man United are gonna beat you on pens.
oh,
that's
Ooh, I like that. I
That's
like
my
Ooh.
prediction. I think they're both shit, Steve, and they're not gonna score.
Obvious.
They're not gonna score many goals, so I'm gonna go for a 1-1. And we'll win on pens for Man United. Even though then I think Onana's their fucking goalkeeper. Jesus. Yeah, so somehow
Imagine
Spurs.
on a ghost hand. The ghost he tries to parry it.
No,
and
imagine Onana. I think in terms of stats, I'm not sure is one of the worst penalty goalkeepers in terms of penalty saves in Europe.
He's rubbish. He's fucking.
He's rubbish, yeah. And I can just imagine him saving 3 pens against Spurs just to like spite that stat. But let's see. I mean, I honestly, this is a very kind of in the moment now because tomorrow I'll say Spurs win 1-0. So yeah, and that means Ange will be gone pretty much on the tarmac.
That would be sad. Sad day.
Yeah. Be a sad day. Shut up,
Sad
Steve. You were drinking the fucking Ange Kool-Aid also. Stop it, Steve.
Dude, I abandoned that ship. What the fuck? I also said I wanted Eddie House. Bro, I get stuff wrong. It happens. you thought Arsenal was gonna win stuff. It happens.
Hey, how the fuck was I supposed to predict all the injuries we got?
Can I say something to Tottenham Ranger? Well, as long as my IQ is higher than Ange, I'll take it.
No,
as long as my
why
IQ.
why do you answer such comments, man? Just fucking.
I just love it. It's
Yeah,
the New Yorkers.
and you know what? But then again, I think to myself, just
so many Spurs YouTubers. I don't know. They have a tendency to like.
No,
they
Alex,
love
I honestly
negative.
think to myself, like, can you imagine Ange, this arrogant little fucking clown, how he's been with all the excuses, never taking any accountability for anything? Can you imagine how he's gonna be if he wins the Europa? He's gonna
We have to
absolutely.
before he gets that opportunity.
Stefan, Spurs. I think we need to realize this, Stefan. Their fan base goes into meltdown regardless of the outcome.
Yeah, No, but Steve, I honestly think I was telling the guys this. This is the biggest game in terms of the consequences. It's like the championship playoff final. Whoever wins this game is gonna make it's 120 million swing in terms of money
Yeah.
wise. Like this is such a huge game. And
It's
I
more
read a
important for
comment.
Man United to win it financially. I
Same.
think.
I
think
also
it's
think it's more
very
pivotal
them.
financially for Matt because they're screwed financially. But
Yeah.
I really wouldn't be able to stand Ange just being I'm so great and this and that, like winning the Europa. This fucking
Yeah, but what if it meant that he stays another year?
That's true. That would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. That's
And Man
if he
United in the
stays.
mud
No, no.
is never
Honestly, guys. If he wins the Europa and stays another year, and you play Champions League football with this clown, you're gonna get relegated. You're gonna get relegated.
We're gonna look like Flick. We're gonna look like Flick, bro. Don't worry.
You're gonna ask. You're gonna ask kick.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I predict Man United win on pens, and your next coach will be Marco Silva.
Not if he kept up the form he had mid-season, then maybe. But now with his lose the
They're
form,
nice, right? Nice,
he's form based.
Guys, forget about Iriola. He wants to move to a really big club. Forget about Glasner because I'm reading Glasner is gonna
Leipzig.
Leipzig have an opening. It's the perfect club for him. I think he's gonna go to Leipzig. So your options are, and I'm shocked at why you haven't. For me, the best pound for pound manager in the league. That's Thomas Frank. He's about to make. Bless you, Alec. He's about to make 60 fucking points with Brentford, the second smallest budget in the league. He's taken them to 60 points potentially. He's a top coach.
They're not far off Europe either. They're not far off Europe.
He's got on his front feet.
If City wins, 9 Premier League teams can play in Europe. 9.
It's nuts. So it's nuts. So I don't see Glasner going. I don't see Thomas Frank because of what Alex said. He has a big release clause, so Levy doesn't want to pay that.
Our fan base wouldn't.
He doesn't. So I see Marco Silva as your most realistic and gettable coach currently because I'm reading things like Xavi. And I'm like, why the fuck would Xavi come to Spurs right now?
Xavi strikes me.
Who's gonna give Xavi a job right now? Tell me.
I don't think Xavi wants to
Qatar for 20 million.
He's already managing Qatar. He's done with that now. He wants to go up now. He wants to prove his top level
but Alex, he left Barcelona because of the politics. Can you imagine him dealing with that bold fucking dickhead all the time?
Yeah, but out of all managers.
Yeah, but Stefan, Spurs fans
hold up. Let me finish. Out of all managers in the world right now that can come into
Spurs,
he'll
be arguing. This is shit. You guys do not win the culture.
Any manager right now that can come into Spurs.
Now people implode Conte.
Yeah, but the only manager right now that can come in and get like utmost respect from also because of his status, of course, as a player and all, but he's the only one that can come into the club right now and like everybody's gonna be like,
what respect? You're 17th. Who the fuck do these players think they are?
You don't listen to what I'm saying. Xavi he earns respect from any type of player he's gonna have. If you bring in a Marco Silva, it's not gonna be the same situation where you go like, But listen, you could ask me 5 months ago. My answer was gonna be the same. My top 5 managers for the club right now, no matter how realistic, etc. But it was Glasner. It was Italiano, who's now gone on to do what he did yesterday. Italiano. It was Hones from Stuttgart.
Yeah, that's another good shout. That's a good shout.
They're in a cup final as well.
What about that German one?
I would also have a serious look. I would also have a serious look at the Mainz coach.
Oh, Bo Svensson.
Yeah,
Danish. I would also have a look at him.
Listen, or Iriola, the only manager to have done a a double over Arsenal for the last 2 years. He's the only manager that has done the double over you.
That's gonna be the reason as to why you hire the guy that literally has
Plus,
cratered.
he can come into a club like that. I'm not saying he will handle how he will handle.
But wait, but Alex,
Yeah,
you're contradicting yourself. You said I don't rate Marcus Silva because he's gone down the last 3-4 months. Well, Andoni Iraola at Bournemouth, he's cratered. Literally, I think Bournemouth are like 16th or 17th on the form chart for the
They're
last
10th
2-3
right
months.
now.
Yeah, they've completely cratered.
Yeah, but with Iriola, you can argue he's much younger. He has the potential to grow. Silva, I think he's fit. Like he's not gonna, he's an older type manager. Not that he's old, but in terms of age, Iriola has that developmental factor in it. Either way, that was my top five, honestly.
But who's your favorite? Who do you think is gonna be the next coach?
Favorite stylistically, I think
No,
Glasner.
forget fuck style
Yeah, but that
stylistically.
goes into my favorite.
I
My
want
favorite
Pep.
is the one that will
I
fit
want
off
Pep
the
at
bench.
Arsenal. We're not gonna get Pep. Who do you think is gonna be the next coach? What's your prediction?
A prediction?
Yeah.
I don't bother about prediction. Why would I bother? It's not up to me. If I have to say something that matters, when it comes to my own opinion, I would get Glasner or Hones. One of
You
them.
know
because
who? Ooh, what about Scotty Parker?
Oh
he's
yeah.
not-
I'd be really.
I honestly,
Oh, I'm
what
saying what if Spurs
Over
did
Edge,
that?
yeah, over Edge, yeah, but not my favorite choice. But over Edge,
No. I'm not saying you should go get Scott Parker, bro. There's an MLS manager that's better than him right now. Like I'm not.
I mean that's
I'm
pretty
saying
hard,
I
Steve.
think Spurs might get Scotty Parker.
But wait, like that's pretty. Like Scott Parker has done a really good job at Burnley, guys. Like,
Bro, he was fucking awful at Club Bruges. He was awful with Bournemouth in the Prem.
and what is this like?
This guy
guys,
is not a top division.
What
coach.
is this fashion sense that he? Why does he wear that like Nazi style fucking on the side of his? What is that?
Oh
Is
my
that
God.
his like fashion
I have
company?
no
Yeah,
idea.
It looks
he's
awful.
alone in that. He's alone in that. Nobody else wears that. But listen, what he's done: 16 goals conceded in 46 games.
That's amazing.
I think that is more impressive than Ange's treble with Celtic. I'm not
No,
gonna lie.
but wait, Alex.
Nah,
You need a guy that plays Spurs DNA. Remember, it
I'm
needs
not.
to
I'm not
be a
saying I
guy.
want Strasbourg. I told you. I told you. He has to prove himself in the Prem now with Burnley. If they get a hidden game in any sort of like that can carry them through the season, actually make sure that they stay
I
up
just
in the Prem. If they come up, then if he does something, then like finishes 13,
But again,
12th, 14th in that area,
again,
then
Steve.
maybe.
Again,
Otherwise,
they really shock me. These Spurs fans. I told them 2 years ago, get Oliver Glasner. He's
Oh, yeah.
available. No, he's not this. He's not that. Then I tell them again now. Thomas Frank is the best pound for pound coach. None of both Mari and Alex never mentioned Thomas Frank as a potential coach.
I'll give you this. Do you know what Thomas Frank does? His forward line now, his front three, or they're the second highest scoring forward line in the
They're
Prem.
great to watch.
Wissa, 18 goals. Bermo, 18 goals.
Yeah,
Now,
he improved.
Shada's got a few.
Shada has
Well,
11 now.
Shada's got, I think,
but
10.
but
He does
how
to his
about
forwards. That's what I admire about him.
okay, and I'm gonna name you three main factors as to why he is perfect for Spurs.
I think
He
he's too
deals
kind.
with the smallest.
I think he's too. He will accept our situation, and okay, you can argue that's what we need. We need someone that says I'm gonna make the most of what I got. But I think for us to become a regular top four team again, I don't think he's it for me because what he's
Okay,
done.
he's about to wait.
What he's done in
With,
Brentford
with,
is a result of him being there for 5 years. He's gotten time massively.
wait, Alex. At Brentford, he has one of the smallest budgets in the league. He continuously over he overproduces with the resources that he has.
Yeah,
So
but
that's one big factor as a plus to working at Spurs because Levy will always fuck him.
budget or not, the talents
No,
they
no,
have
okay,
aren't.
forget that.
They're not low tier. They're not low tier. Like they might.
Okay. Second factor, you guys have a lot of young players. Well, guess what? Thomas Frank, in terms of developing young players, amazing. Look at the way Brian Mbuemo. Look at Shade did this year. Look at Wissa. Look at how they were when they came to Brentford, and even before that, you can look at Tony. You can look
Yeah,
at
they were
other
nobodies.
players.
They were nobodies. Yeah, they were
Yeah,
nobodies. And he
okay.
turned.
Wait, I forgot another great example of a player that has developed drastically under him. Damsgaard has played really,
Yes.
really well for.
Damsgaard's been sick this year.
I
Yeah.
think
So
Damsgaard is more of a like
okay,
he's unlucky. He's revived him because
wait.
that look at Damsgaard in the Euro 20. That's when you saw with the Euro.
Okay,
2020, that's when you saw
he's
what kind
been
of player
one of
he is.
he's been one of the most creative players in the league. So that's Thomas Frank has helped to get
He
the
should be
best
getting
out of.
into a team of the season over Bruno Fernandes. I don't care what nobody.
Okay. So third factor, he's a nice guy. He doesn't think he's better than the club. He doesn't talk down to the club. He never,
He'll
he's
be a
not
yes
like.
man. He'll be a yes man. He'll be a yes man. And
I disagree. I disagree that he'll be a yes man. He'll be a good company man. But the moment that I'm sure that Thomas Frank, the moment that he's Scandinavian. Like Scandinavians are, they believe in they have morals and stuff. Like they don't believe in that mercenary bullshit that Conte did or Mourinho did before that. So I would prefer some, and not only that, he has charisma. This press conferences, he's not a
Yes.
dickhead. He's not a dickhead like Ange every time he fucking loses the game, where
yeah,
he
that's
acts like
true.
a complete prick. So I think it's for me it's if you can get Glasner, okay, Glasner would be my 1B to Thomas Frank, but I'm shocked that I see coaches like fucking Xavi being named, Marco Silva.
Fan
Compare,
base, Stefan, our fan base, they want to be entertained. The
but
thought of
Thomas Frank to Brentford has, I think, the only team that has scored more goals than them. The only teams are Liverpool, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Man City have scored more goals than them. They're one of the top scoring teams. They play really good attacking football, and not only this, you forgot the fourth one. His system is perfect for the player profiles you guys have. He'll play with three at the back.
Yeah, it's a good
He'll play
argument.
with three.
Good argument. Yeah.
It's a no-brainer for me. Okay, guys, I've got to go.
yeah, we're gonna end the show because I'm starving and I'm about to hit 3 hours.
Let me just end it. Let me just end this on. Let me just end it on this. Honestly, with Ange, with what you asked, Maury, like,
Yeah.
can he stay if he wins the Europa League? My biggest issue with Ange hasn't ever been his style of football. My biggest issue with him is, and what pisses me off the most, is the injury plagues that follow him. That's what gets me off my like. That he's never going to be able to manage a Prem team and keep them fit for a 38 game league season. He's not. So. If you look at us right now, if you look at like Ange's football is closer to Flick's football. I'm not saying that he has any sort of quality to him to be even close to Flick in terms of a manager himself, but his football is closer to Flick than it is of being like his own unique style. So it's not something that like it's closer to that, but he's never going to be able to make it work in the Prem because he's not adaptable enough, and he won't sacrifice his style for results. He doesn't have the quality. He'll never have the quality under
But
Levy.
isn't just to big up
No
my
matter
guy
what
Thomas
happens
Frank?
if he wins the Europa, he has to go solely because he's proven that he's not a Premier League manager. And this was the same guy, I'm going to put it simplistically now, this was the same guy that last season said that our performance levels haven't been up to it because we haven't had enough games to play, because we were out of Europe, because we had so many long 7 to 10 day breaks between games, and he said that affected performance levels. But now this is the same manager that says that the amount of games and the intensity of them, the sheer intensity of them, has halted our performance level. So he's the biggest hypocrite you can find in the league, in my opinion, and nothing about him personally. What he's bond with us fans, he's burned all the bridges with all the fans. He doesn't wanna rebuild them. He doesn't put much value to our emotions, as he showed after City. All these things I've mentioned, all these crucial things now for why he can't stay next season. And whoever we get, honestly, us having Champions League will just massively benefit whoever we can get in the summer and our manager. So it's this, or we're gonna be fucked for years to come if we don't pull something back versus United. Yeah.
Well,
I need to give I need to give my cup final predictions. That's what I got to do. All right. As of right now, I'll go with a 1-0 Man United win. Sadly. And for FA Cup final,
We haven't
2-1
scored in our
Palace.
last 4 finals, Steve. You know that,
2-1
right?
Palace FA Cup final. And for Conference League, Betis 2-1.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I said before the season Chelsea wouldn't win conference. I think it's too obvious.
I
Well,
agree with.
if
I
Betis win
agree
against
literally-
Chelsea, I'll be
I
over
agree
the
with
moon.
all of. I agree with all of Steve's predictions, especially the Palace one, because I put a €20 bet on Palace to win the FA Cup in January.
Yeah, we
And
talked
if,
about this.
yeah,
Yeah.
and if Palace win, I make €800. So I'm all. Yeah, I'm all for. I'm all for fucking Palace to win.
Okay, I'm
We're
gonna be
almost
cheering for City. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
No, but
So-
honestly, I think like Chelsea, if they win the Conference League now, they'll be the first club ever to win all
All
3
the
years.
European.
That's why like them being able to have that like accolade with them after this. Like, I can't. If they lose, they're almost never going to be back in the Conference League. So this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for them. So
I don't know about that.
Wait,
With the
calm
strength
down.
of the-
Calm down. If Villa win, which they will against you guys, and Chelsea somehow fuck it up, which I think they might against Man United.
That Chelsea Nottingham Forest game may be a play-in.
Fuck
Oh,
it.
this-
Chelsea are
this-
not good away from home in
Chelsea have
2025.
won, just for FYI, guys, since December 2024, Chelsea have won one away game. One.
Yeah.
So
the Nottingham game versus Chelsea is 3 days before the European final.
Tonight, Stefan.
Chelsea, I guarantee you this, Alex. If Chelsea have a chance to get into the Champions League, they're not going to give a fuck about the Conference League final. They're going to play.
That's why I'm praying
Nah.
they lose it.
Nah, it's a final. It's a final.
No,
bro.
Steve, are you kidding me? Do you know what the money differential is between getting into Europa and into
But
the
it's a
Champions
final.
League?
You're gonna play your best team.
Yeah, I'm not saying, but Chelsea will not rest players in thinking about the Conference League final. No chance. No chance. No chance. They're going to go all out. The issue that they have is that their top goal scorer since the start of the year is Cucurella. That's their biggest issue.
They have to go out. They have to go all out. in their
Even though
next three games.
Nottingham, I mean, Newcastle almost shit their pants against Chelsea. I watched Nottingham Forest literally shit their pants against Leicester at the end. So all
Who's
of
the
these,
big Forest fan? He's been quiet.
all of these teams now that are on the cusp of Champions League. The only team that for me has looked quite good, surprisingly, even though they lost recently, was Aston Villa. Aston Villa looked like they're locked in.
Slip right in. I think, and they play us and United, who we're checked out.
That's 2
Yeah,
wins.
but Mari, you know this. Villa is my second team, so I watch them quite often. Aston Villa at Old Trafford suck ass, Mari. No matter how shit Man United are.
United suck, bro. They suck. I can see them sneaking in. I think they the top. Well, it's Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle.
No, not Newcastle. City will be third. Newcastle will be fourth.
And then
Chelsea.
I'm
Actually, no. I'm gonna go for Villa as an outside shot.
Villa. Yeah, I have Villa coming in, and the winner of the Chelsea.
It's gonna be so amazing, guys. If Chelsea fuck up the final and then they finish seventh and they're in the Conference League again, that'll be amazing.
Yeah, I hate the Chelsea.
It depends. They could go to Europa. It depends on the city of Crystal Palace because it's a weird scenario that 9 teams. Kid you not, 9 teams can be playing for Europe.
No, I think from what I read, if Palace win Europa, but Chelsea finish sixth, Palace take Chelsea's place
You mean
in
FA Cup,
Europa.
Palace.
Yeah. Palace take Chelsea's place in Europa. If Chelsea finish sixth, that means that Chelsea take the Conference League spot, and so the 7th place is irrelevant.
Oh, fucking hell, don't.
Wow.
That would be sick. That would be sick.
That would be funny.
I watch Chelsea and they're so overhyped. They're so shit. They just have a few good. Everybody hypes them, Steve. Fucking hell, man. Do you remember? Huh?
Palmer's overhyped, bro.
Yes. Yeah.
I think
but
I think Poch, like I said, Poch was very good to him. I'm not seeing how this.
Leicester fans warned you.
Yep.
Listen, if Poch was the man, if Chelsea never sacked Poch, and if he still was the manager coming in from last season, I'm telling you, Chelsea would have sat second right now. They would have sat second right now.
That's crazy.
I'm honestly fully confident in that. If they stuck with Poch, they would have sat second above Arsenal right now. I don't think that's crazy. No, honestly, because he started showing signs of. Yeah, they gelled. They gelled until like in the end of last season, and Poch, when he comes into his second, third year, that's when you see the best out of him, because he's not gonna win you the lot in his first season. So honestly.
On that note, I gotta go because I'm sorry.
No worries.
But yeah, you can see us tomorrow because we have a post game for the Villa game. It's gonna look good. Steve, you have your channel. Let's see if you have your banner here. Yes, we do, guys. Great content. Subscribe to Stratsport Steve. Stratsport is trying to qualify for the Champions League.
Liam Rosenor or whatever his name is, their manager.
We'll probably get
Europa
conference.
How is Sebastian Nasi doing? Has he fallen off?
He should be starting more, to be honest.
Really?
But bro, the kids had a good season.
Mm.
I like
So,
it. I like the
please subscribe, guys. And the last thing I'm gonna say is, come on, you Spurs, and be out and out.
Up the fucking Spurs.
Up the Spurs. Come on, you Spurs.
United. Please beat United. That would be fucking
Yeah,
cool.
you're gonna beat United 1-0, baby. We got.
He always gets trophies in his second season.
Or fucking parade. What am I saying?
Win 1-0.
Please, bro.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.